What is going on, Crisis Actors? It is episode 1047 of Pop Culture Crisis. My name is Brett. I am here on a Tuesday with my guest co-host. Introduce yourself, please.
Hi, Crisis Actors. It's Olivia. We have got a panel today. A
Full
panel. I am so excited. We got it to go to work for Cinco de Mayo.
So you said got it to go, like it was a delivery.
I almost said like hot to go from Chaperone. My brain's like got it stuck in my head, and I was like, I don't even like that.
Podcast.
I don't even like that song.
Chaperone.
But yes, happy Cinco de Mayo, everybody, and Taco Tuesday.
That's what I said to Libby. I said she can be on Cinco de Mayo.
That's
right. Here I am.
How you
Cinco
doing?
de Mayo. I'm good. How's everybody doing?
We're doing good. What's new? Did you watch it? Did you see anything from the Met Gala last night?
I watched some red carpet.
Okay.
You know,
Yes.
I watched some protesters hurling themselves at the red carpet.
We've got that. We've got
Yeah.
that. We got we talked about PETA a little bit before we went live today.
Yeah.
I'm a PETA appreciator because nobody cares about them anymore, and I can appreciate it when
That they
you've
try
got
to stay relevant.
they're trying to
Yeah.
stay relevant. And also joining us today was with us last night on IRL. Introduce yourself.
Hey, buenas tardes, gente linda. Feliz Cinco de Mayo. My name is Kai Schwemmer. Thank you so much for having me. If there's any Spanish segment, I'll do the live
You
translation.
can do that.
Yeah, there we go.
What was the segment we did in the post show last night? Pigeon?
Yeah, pigeon.
Does somebody want to explain that? Because I didn't really understand it.
Pigeon?
Like Jamaican. It's like a
Right.
Jamaican dialect.
What's crazy is the BBC has
Yes.
BBC Pigeon.
That's what we were reading.
And they write their articles like it's almost sort of offensive.
Yeah,
even you'd think.
That's what we were saying. 'Cause
Yeah,
it's like
it's
they write
kind
in
of
English.
racist. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So-
that's what we were talking about last night. I was like reading the article. I'm like, what is going on here? I don't know. It doesn't make any sense to me. Don't worry, guys. I won't be speaking in Pidgin or typing in Pidgin or doing anything in Pidgin today. You guys know I have a hard enough time reading out loud when it's in perfect English. But we're going to get through it all today. So what you should do before we get started is hit the like button on this episode and subscribe to the channel if you are new here and you have not subscribed here yet already. I know Kai shared it out, so perhaps there is somebody here who is watching for the first time. Hit the subscribe button and share it out with everybody that you know. The more people that you share the show with, the faster our channel can grow. I even want you to share out to people that you don't like. If there's people that you
True.
don't like, you should share it with
Facts.
them, and then arguing with them in the comments section because it increases our engagement. You can help us out by doing that, and then you can get in your daily dose of arguing with people on the internet. It makes everybody happy. So what are we getting into today? We got a bunch of stuff to talk about. We are going to talk about the Met Gala. Look, as I was posting last night, I am not an art nerd. I can't claim. I love watching movies, and I oftentimes defend the artistic endeavors of Hollywood. Oftentimes I think, well, misplaced. Art is important, but I don't understand the art of going to the Met Gala dressed like a Batman villain. And we are going to talk about it because we got some crazy examples of everything there. We'll look at it a little bit. We're also going to talk about MIA, who's responsible for one of the biggest blights in my entire life, which is the song Paper Planes, which was infecting society for like 3 to 5 years. Maybe I'll
You
tell
don't
that
like
story.
it? You don't like that
I'll tell
song?
the story maybe when we get to the segment why I have a particular disdain
Okay.
for this song. But she's been fired by Kid Cudi. She was working as doing opening act for Kid Cudi, and she went on a rant about being a brown Republican, and he's like, I don't want that.
Oh wow, that makes me think even less of Kid Cudi.
No, so, we'll get into it.
I stand with Mia.
Yeah, so we'll talk about it. We're also going to talk about this absolutely disgusting trend that's been going around, the Charlie Kirk prom trend, which is the kids are cooked. Ladies and gentlemen, the kids are cooked. We've got that. We've got a bunch of other stuff. If everybody is ready, we can just get into it and talk about the Met Gala. Is everybody ready?
We're good to
I'm
go.
good to go.
Good to go?
Never been more ready.
Libby?
I'm all
I was
set.
waiting for the... Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Let's go ahead and let's talk about the Met Gala. As I was saying before we even got started with this show, I can't pretend to be the target demographic for the Met Gala. I'm a dude. I don't really care a whole ton about fashion. I wear the same shirt in 5 different colors, and that's about it. But I do understand the importance of art. I do think that art matters in society. I think that you build a positive society through policy for the purpose of also making it beautiful through the concept of art. I think that's important. So let's talk about the ridiculousness, however, of, like I was saying, they're kind of dressed like Batman villains, but let's look at what the whole purpose of the Met Gala is, which is a fundraiser to raise funds for the Institute. The theme this year was Fashion is Art, and it was sponsored by Amazon, which of course caused boycotts, as we did talk about.
$10 million.
Exactly. So this is what it described on the website. It said the gala dress code will be Fashion is Art, inviting guests to express their own relationship to fashion as an embodied art form and celebrate the countless countless depictions of the dressed body throughout art history. The Met Gala takes place annually on the first Monday in May, and the proceeds provide the Costume Institute with its primary source of annual funding for exhibitions, publications, acquisitions, and operations. The funds raised also support other museum activities. So there you get the general idea of what the purpose of the Met Gala is. Everybody knows what it is. It's they go up on the stairs. They look a bit ridiculous. So we can go through and look at some of the most ridiculous of the costumes. I'm calling them costumes because that's what they feel like to me. So I'm going to put it on screen here for everybody to see. The first one we have here is from Cardi B. I don't know what that is supposed to be.
Can I predict or make, I guess, a guess? When I was in Argentina, and we spoke a little bit about this before, Larry, there was a food that was more common there than it is here called chinchulin, which is intestine. Mm-hmm. This is what she looks like.
It could be.
She looks like what you would put like on a plate, cooked intestine is what it looks like.
There was this one from Heidi Klum. Heidi Klum is famous for her Halloween costumes, so I actually appreciate this one.
It.
I love that. She looks absolutely ridiculous, mainly because she doesn't allow her vanity to get in the way of the Halloween costumes.
Yeah.
Halloween costume is traditionally in America a place for women. Granted, these days we don't exactly shame women for how they dress anyways, but the archetype was that you could go and dress however you wanted for Thanksgiving. Don't do that.
Don't do that.
For Halloween, because, it was one night a year, whatever.
What's that TikTok audio? It's the one night a year that a girl can dress like a...
Oh, yeah.
And
So
get away with it.
You can get away with it, yeah.
As somebody who's a feminine woman, she used it to dress up in things that were not anti-feminine, but were costumes and monsters, and I appreciate the commitment to the bit. Mm-hmm. This one from Gwendolyn Christie, she's just carrying a face there, a mask. Can you discern what she was trying to say by this?
I don't know what piece of art she was inspired by.
Well, we're going to look at a list later where it kind of gives some of the more the less esoteric
but
examples.
This has sort of like a Mask of the Red Death feel to me.
Okay.
Maybe they're all going to get
is.
in there and exchange plagues and
Sam Smith
that
looks
so
like
he
a
always dresses badly.
Yep.
He's one of the worst examples.
He was a much better dresser when he remembered that he was a man.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, I was telling her
actually
when he
fine.
acknowledged it, yeah.
I was
Yeah.
telling Olivia the other night. I said Sam Smith is one of those tragic cases where he made fantastic songs that were basically modern pop love ballads, which you don't really hear a whole lot of anymore outside of maybe an Ed Sheeran or something like that. And he was well dressed, and he could have done those same songs
and been gay,
and nobody would have cared.
No one
Right.
cared.
No, but he has used his they them status as an excuse to get fat and drape himself in velvet.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much it. You know,
just own it if you're gonna do it.
just
own it.
you can be that guy. I mean,
Yeah.
we did have Liberace. We've had a culture of that. It's
that's
okay.
true.
But no, I think he looks better in a suit. I think all men look better in suits.
So
I would
true.
agree.
I don't know.
Very much agree.
I don't know what Lena Dunham is doing with this one here. It's red with feathers.
Is that Lena Dunham?
says
Yes,
Lena-
that's Lena Dunham.
Yep.
That is,
goodness.
she looks like a different
looks
person every
terrible.
time I see her.
That color
And
didn't
it's
work.
never quite great.
No, never.
You know, I think this is another person who's just so obsessed with themselves.
Oh, yeah.
That they can't how can she even get out of her apartment? She's like her whole sense of self is so big.
Yeah.
She looks so pale too. I don't know if it's the color of the dress, the lighting, because the floor looks kind of but there's a flash. I mean, you can see there's bruises on her leg. Look, I got bruises on my leg, but I'm not going to a red carpet. I'm just saying, when you go to a red carpet, you're usually very cognizant of that. You either cover it or you put the, the pantyhose on to cover it up. She didn't care. She was like, I'm just doing it.
So here is actress Sarah Paulson wearing $1 bills as a mask, I guess, to protest rich people.
Yeah. So she was out there protesting with her $1 bill, and I think she's
I hope it's. Oh no, she cheated. She poked holes.
Yeah,
in
she
it so
poked
she can
holes.
see.
That's even worse.
But Ollie London was posting about this, and
Yes,
he
I
said
got
that
it.
she's worth $12 million. And basically what I thought was sort of great was you had all these protesters outside talking about, there's blood in your red carpet, which of course, I mean, it matches the Louboutins and the car. You can't see it anyway because it's red, doesn't matter. But the protesters and the Met Gala attendees have the same politics.
Yeah.
The only difference is the velvet rope.
Literally.
Like, what are you protesting? Do you want them to pay more taxes? Jeff Bezos paid like what $2.7 billion in taxes in 2024.
And then you have to tell them like the top
He's got
one.
his like plastic wife now. They're all very excited about that. You know, I'm sure that he bought the gala for her.
Oh yeah.
No, they did it in 2012. Like first
They
of all,
did,
it
okay.
was Amazon, not necessarily even just him, and he's not even like in charge of Amazon anymore.
Whatever. He was the one being protested.
He's the one being
he was the one whose face was on the little bottles of fake pee.
Olivia Rodrigo protested the event, but did do the after party and sells like a record that's unique to just an Amazon release, which then of course enriches him further because he's got tons of Amazon stock.
For sure.
And that reminds me actually of who, in my opinion, I don't know if we're getting into spoilers, but for me, the GOAT of the Met Gala, Mark Zuckerberg.
Why? Because he wasn't there?
No, he was there.
He was?
Mark Zuckerberg was there with his wife, and it's like...
Was he just in a suit?
He was just in a suit. He was in a tuxedo. Stylish. The watch he had on, fantastic.
He's worked very hard to like trick people into thinking he's human.
Well, which is so funny because I think, you know, he does the opposite of what everybody else at the Met Gala does. Everybody else appears as inhuman as possible, and he tries to appear more human.
Day for him.
Yeah.
Yep.
He's like, finally.
So we had that. Again, Heidi Klum poses as a statue with the theme. I appreciated that. I did want to know if anybody could explain this one. So I am going to currently, and I want you guys to maybe bookmark this. I'm going to eat crow here because last week we covered a video of Olivia Wilde, and I said she looked fine. I said she was clearly being filmed on what looked like an iPhone fisheye lens, like somebody had, like ratcheted down the angle of the lens all the way into fisheye territory, which automatically makes people look worse through lens distortion.
Yeah.
She looks really, really
She looks
thin
bad.
here.
Yeah, she looks
in fact, I got a message from Colonel Kurtz, friend of the channel, last night. She goes, "What is up with the Ozempic face?" And I was like, "Oh, no way."
She did it in a group chat with the two of us, which is very funny. I don't know why she has a group chat with the two of us, but she does. And she sent it to us, and Brett was like right next to me. He goes, "Oh." Oh.
Because I said she looks fine. It's just the angle of the lens. She's always been very thin. But I don't know what this is supposed to be. The best I could hope for is I asked on X last night, I said, I'm not an artist, so I can't understand the deep, complex message that this conveys. I don't know. And somebody's answer, and I'm going to take them at their word because they seem to, let's face it, I was being
They said
sarcastic.
it on the internet. It must be true.
Well, I was being sarcastic, but they took me seriously, which I can appreciate. Said, no, I get it. It shows a comparison in beauty standards, modern versus Victorian. Ladies used to wear bustles like this to poof out their long dresses and create curves. So that's what they're saying the purpose of this
That might be
was.
it.
I mean, it looks like a wicker basket.
Sure. It is kind of, it is a bustle, and it's kind of like wearing your underwear over your clothes.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
that would-
normally it would go under the dress.
That would be under the dress.
That was
yes.
always under my wedding dress. That'd be like me putting that over my wedding dress, basically. I had like a bustle underneath to fluff it out.
Okay.
Yeah.
See, I'm learning so much now, guys.
Yeah.
I said
you didn't even
yesterday.
notice. That's kind of the point.
I
You didn't even notice.
But then the point of putting it on the outside is to what? Is like if they're still doing it today,
fashion
if it's
is art,
still
I don't
going
know.
on in wedding dresses today, I
Certain
guess things
dresses.
haven't changed that
Mine
much.
needed it because it just needed that bit of like fluff.
Okay.
I'm going to say I actually don't mind that one. Like
That one?
I think of all of them, that's probably the only one that maybe does actually call back to some older kind of form of art in dress. And you have the opposition of the white and the black dress. The black dress, which stand alone would be something that somebody would wear. I don't know if it's Met Gala quality, but I think there's a commentary there that is productive, or at least in some way, it's not overly intellectual, where you have some of these other people who are like, well, what are we even doing?
Well,
You
listen,
just are
like,
trying to look ugly.
For me, like on my worst day, I make that tweet that I just made.
Yeah.
Which is making fun of it. And I fully admit that on my best day, I can listen to their intellectual answers and say, I don't get it, but good for you.
Yeah.
Like,
fair.
it makes it harder to do that because celebrities tend to be so pretentious and annoying, and
Yes.
and the people, especially if you look at the lady worth $12 million protesting the 1%, makes it harder for me to give that leeway. But I admit that on my best day, I'm like, you know what? As long as you're over there doing your art nerd stuff, I don't really care because it doesn't affect my life.
Yeah.
But also, people were protesting And the whole point was that it was raising money for something that theoretically they find important.
Yeah.
Yes,
And
a
if
museum,
they
yeah.
and if art matters to them as much as they claim they do, then sometimes you have to work with people that you don't like a Jeff Bezos. Like I was pointing out, I said, like, I would love to hear the politics of the people whose job it is to go out there and court the sponsors, like a Jeff Bezos. That person can't afford to be picky.
Yeah. And that's the thing is, these very affluent people, they're the one that sponsor the arts. These are your philanthropists. I mean, how else could Hunter Biden have ever realized his goal of becoming an artist?
Well, this
Very
of course
true.
goes back. I mean, the Medicis in Italy, they were the sponsors of art. And if you look at portraits, they had their own portraits commissioned. They had all other kinds of things commissioned. The Catholic Church was a sponsor of art. That's how you got the Sistine Chapel, which Michelangelo famously did not want to paint.
Yeah.
And then he got talked into it. So, I mean, of course,
That's a flex.
it's
when you're like, oh, I didn't even want to do it.
And it's like the most beautiful thing in the world. Yeah, it's crazy.
But I prefer sculpture, honestly, I think. But
Yeah,
What did
Okay.
you? Okay, I'm gonna sidebar then. It's my show. I can sidebar.
You
here.
can do what you want.
What did you think of the Banksy sculpture in London?
I thought it was stupid.
Yeah. Do you think Banksy's a real person? Do you think it's like a network of people?
Oh, I don't care.
I mean,
I don't think the work is. I don't think the work is that great. And the thing about that piece is, you could look at it and you could say, oh, he's saying, that ideology can blind a man to what's really important, or even to making sure that he's not stepping right off a cliff. But the fact that he put the man on a plinth near Churchill, near equestrian statues.
It was in London.
It was in London.
The most surveilled
Right.
place
Sure,
in
and
the
they don't have it.
world.
And it was in it's in a very public place. But the fact that he put him on a plinth in that area and then put the man in a suit shows you that he's not talking about any ideology.
No.
He's not criticizing any man who is beholden to an ideology. He's criticizing the British who put up the British flags. He's criticizing the, actual just native English people who are trying to hang on to their country. And he's saying that they are walking off a cliff by not letting themselves be completely Islamified and taken over by, fascist theocracy. So that, I thought, made it, I think that transformed it from something that was sort of clever and interesting to something that was cheap and propaganda.
I like reinterpreting it. I like going, whoa, the flag is covering his eyes so that he can walk in faith, and he's walking on air. This is crazy.
Right.
It's like nationalism will allow you to walk on air.
You just go state that as surely as you can to everybody.
That's
It'll go around. It'll become true.
That's how I feel talking about Charlie XCX. I'm like, yeah, I love her. She's pro-natalist. Like, Charlie's the best. Anti-contraception. Like, let's go. Like,
Let's go.
In 2026, we are reappropriating every left-wing piece of art or music or anything,
As we should.
and making it right wing.
So this was Rachel Zegler's. Now, somebody who knows more about fashion can tell me this designer, Prabal Göring?
Göring?
Prabal?
Is it Prabal?
I don't
The
really know.
Nazis are making her costume?
The execution of Lady Jane Grey is what she was doing
The
here.
painting, yeah.
And then, of course, we have this video. I'm sorry, but I have to. Where they were like, "This looks like the most zooted woman in history." 'Cause
I think she was trying to make like a sexy face, and it just didn't.
But she's
like-
she's famous for this look. I kind of pushed back. I said, the drugs would make you grind your teeth, not necessarily do this all the time. But I could be wrong. She could just be trying to smolder and not smoldering right.
I think she's trying to smolder in a way that I don't know.
She ends up looking like who is it? The James Bond parody. What's the guy with the?
Austin Powers.
Yeah, she looks like Austin. I mean, it's gone now, but she looked like Austin Powers for a second there.
She's doing her best there. Rachel Zegler, it's hard to pick on her still. I try to lay off as much as I can, but she's at least, like it says Lady Jane Grey. But these were some of the other ones that were there. So Hunter Schafer is in Prada, inspired by, is it Maida Primavesi?
I don't know,
This is
but
the-
MTV said prettiest girl there or something like that.
Love that.
Great.
And then
Inaccurate, but okay.
Emma Chamberlain in Mugler. I thought I saw Murgler in the chat.
You were like,
Mugler and Murgler are
yeah,
not the same
not the
I think
person.
isn't it Mugler?
Maybe. Who?
Whatever.
No.
Emma
No.
Chamberlain is still around.
She
I don't
looks
know who that
so
is.
different. She's a
Mugler?
YouTuber. She was a YouTuber, and I think back in the day she was kind of just like a cute, lifestyle girl, and now she looks completely different. Yeah, she looks like basically like those videos of people that are like beginning of college, after college, and they got totally like libified. that's what happened to her. She used to just be a very, like, I didn't watch her a lot, but she's kind of like a YouTuber and a very, you know, kind of cute, fun, easygoing.
She looks like Severus, or not Severus Snape. She looks like Voldemort.
A little bit.
Like
see
that. Yeah, it's
So,
like the lighting on her nose in one of these photos I'm looking at. It appears like it's not there. It's just the nostrils. She literally looks like Voldemort.
Yep.
Sabrina Carpenter was wearing a dress made up of the film print of the movie Sabrina.
It's kind of.
I like that.
Cool. I like that's cool.
That's kind of
At the very least, very clever.
Even her nails had like film like theme, and I was like, that's good. Attention to detail.
I really don't like Sabrina Carpenter, but that's actually good.
I bob to her music, but I can't stand her as a person.
I almost prefer her as a person than her music.
Really?
So then somebody got mad. Emily Zanotti got mad and said she's interpreting this is back about Rachel Zegler now. She's interpreting a famous painting of the execution of Lady Jane Grey. You uncultured swine.
It's unfair to pigs, but okay.
I liked that one.
You like that one?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't think it's that bad, but the Habsburg reference
Face.
at the bottom there.
Yeah.
The faces
jaw.
she was making. But
Somebody said the facial expression definitely are an interpretation. Thanks for sharing the reference. Yeah, so there it is. Like I said, I fully admit that this is oftentimes we kind of run into our own troubles by going to places we don't understand and then criticizing them. I'm more or less kind of just captivated by it being a world that I don't really get.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like I feel like I get into the arguments with conservatives all the time when they talk about movies being just actors are just people playing pretend, and I said I think that's a straw man.
Yeah.
I think that acting is a form of art.
It
art
is a form
important.
of art.
So
what you have to always wrestle with is like when it stoops to, or when it becomes too pretentious, when it like relies too much, like it's too auto-referential, and it's it just gets to the point where you're not even trying to reflect anything beautiful, anything important. You're just trying to upset people. You're just trying to be regressive, and I think we like the left falls into that way too much, into the regressive kind of part of that.
And of course, we'll finish it off on this because somebody said that they reached the end of the.
We've reached peak like oppression Olympics.
Yes.
We've really gotten
Yeah,
there.
this was sort of amazing.
This sentence was crazy.
Erin Rose Phillip, the first Black transgender woman with quadriplegic cerebral palsy, signed to a major modeling agency, arriving at the Met Gala.
What's kind of weird is what is he going to be modeling, and for who? How many people are there with cerebral palsy who are going to be
Who are millionaires?
Yeah, buying like really expensive
Also,
clothing.
and
how I thought the purpose of modeling, and you could ask fashion designers, they use fit models, to like figure out the sizes and whatever. Modeling is supposed to show you how it might look on you.
I thought the point was okay. So maybe I was misinterpreted when somebody told me this. I thought they said the point when they used to use skinny models was that it was basically like a clothes hanger.
The clothes hanger, sure. But the idea is you're supposed to see how the clothes look. You can't even tell what he's wearing in this. Is this a dress? Is it some sort of like schmata, like my grandmother would say? Like, what is this? What is going on?
I don't know.
I
don't get it.
I love one of the tweets I just read. It's Erin Rose Phillip, first Black transgender woman with quadriplegic cerebral palsy. Why did they use first, though? Are people really thinking, thank goodness the road is now paved for the second Black transgender woman?
That is important. I had a tweet about that earlier.
With quadriplegic cerebral palsy.
Yeah.
And look, I have a cousin with pretty severe cerebral palsy, and this can't be made for him. What would that be doing? Like, I honestly, there's no way my aunt and uncle would be like, yeah, let's go. No,
Let's
there's
put him in a
other
dress.
ways to portray
The other
it.
thing too is it's like you're not trans. You're not trans. You're
not
just having a hard time in a lot of other ways.
Yep.
But you're not a girl. You probably don't need estrogen. You probably don't need more surgeries.
It's the last thing
Yeah,
you need.
It's like been enough already
You
with
have enough health
the medical
complications.
situation.
Well, that's when
Oh,
you're playing
yeah.
bingo and you get a bingo, but you're going for blackout. You like
Right?
you
Yeah,
want to
it's
hit every
literally
single
that,
dot.
yeah.
Gotta do it. Yeah, it reminds me of that old Dead Milkman song about the lesbian albino midget Eskimos.
Yeah.
I think Lauren Chen tweeted like, Jesus, pick a struggle.
Oh yeah, no, it was like I clicked on the tweet and it was like 6 seconds ago she had responded and she was like, pick a struggle, dude. And I was like,
It's just nobody's trying to be rude when they say that it feels like you're being put up as spectacle for.
But you'll notice this man in the chair, he's not the one who was tweeting this. It's everybody else saying this about him. So to top it off, he's being objectified by the leftist gaze. You know?
And I guess my point was at the end of the night. I tweeted this today. There was this photo from a Met Gala bathroom selfie. Somebody pointed out that Blackpink is in there, the 4 members of Blackpink.
Oh, yeah.
Otherwise, I said the death of monoculture says, who the hell are these people?
Yeah.
Like it's like the famous Bradley Cooper photo that everybody remembers from the Oscars years ago is the last time that it really felt like there was a monoculture where everybody kind of understood and was living in the same world. We don't live in the same world as our neighbors anymore. And I'm not even talking about in the political sense, which is where that usually falls in, which is the discussion of like you depending on where you get your news from, you live in a completely different world from your your liberal neighbor. That's not even true of like necessarily just your politics anymore. Like now, culture has been so subculturified, if for a lack of a better phrasing.
I think that would be good.
Like that everybody's kind of whittled down into their own tiny little subset, and nothing like there's nothing for people to coalesce around it.
Yeah, people will mention like I've talked to some buddies recently, and they're like, "Yeah, I've been playing this video game," and I'm like,
Which
what?
one?
Yeah, like you've been playing this game where it's like this super niche like co-op gameplay, and I'm like, I miss the times when we would be like, what are you playing? Oh, everybody in the world is playing Minecraft, or everybody in the world is buying the new Call of Duty game.
Yeah. All right, let's move on. We've got more stuff to get into.
So there's a new polling article out that is suggesting that the young men saying there is a religious revival is actually a myth. The study suggests that recent converts care more about gender than Jesus. This is from Salon. Young men in the U.S. say religion is very important in their lives compared to young women, a recent AP story read, noting it is the first time young men have surpassed young women on the measure. The article continues, except they aren't.
Yeah, they don't. So the article's premise is basically
okay. This was written by a feminist. Let's just put that out there. But she says, a recent Gallup poll did include a surprising finding. In 2024 to 25, 42% of men ages 18 to 29 said religion is very important to them, which is up from 28% in previous years. The figure also dramatically surpassed young women, who held steady at 30%. But a deeper look shows you that young men are not actually going to church more than young women. Self-reporting says it's about the same, 39% for young women, 40% for young men. She goes on to say, this surge of self-proclaimed religiosity among young men likely has to do with less to do with faith and more to do with politics. You guessed it, specifically gender politics. As the 2024 election showed, young male voters were swinging to the right. According to a poll conducted by Tufts University, 56% of men aged 18 to 29 voted for Trump in 24, compared to only 41% who did so in 2020. Women of the same age bracket voted for Democrats in both elections. This shift has been largely, and I believe accurately, not me, the author. Let me just make sure the author's point of view. Attributed to young men's consumption of a deluge of far-right propaganda online packaged as lifestyle content.
Far-right like Joe Rogan.
From podcasters like Joe Rogan.
Yes, far-right Joe Rogan.
And a variety of TikTok, where famously the right wing is very welcome.
Yeah. Sorry, guys.
And Instagram
that is true now because of Larry Ellison.
I'm guessing not around the time that this study was done.
No chance. Yeah,
so
no, the TikTok
she goes on.
goes brutal.
She gets way more liberal.
So her general premise though is that they're over-reporting because they're worried, like they're worried about how they're being perceived.
Well, she gets into it more. Yes. She says this content has appeal because it takes this boys will be boys tone, often with a heavy emphasis on bro-coded subjects like fighting sports, marijuana use, dumb conspiracy theories, and a ton of sexist and homophobic commentary. But what hasn't been discussed as much in mainstream media coverage of the podcast bros is how heavy-handed the Christian proselytization can be. Among the chatter about dudes getting laid, getting stoned, lifting weights, don't lift weights, bad idea, there's a surprising amount of hype for right-wing religious views. Apparently she wrote an in-depth article months ago about whatever, and she calls it a grossly misogynistic program where cute young women, often working as models for OnlyFans, spend hours being berated about the alleged evils of feminism by right-wing hosts. Brian Atlas and guest presenters fling religious rhetoric at the young female guest, usually to demonize reproductive rights or argue that women should be submissive to men. And she finishes by saying, it's a faith cobbled together by a bunch of sexist notions picked up on podcasts. The appeal of it is obvious. This is religion that only exists to justify prejudices and doesn't ask much of its listeners in return.
It is, however, true that the whatever podcast is like the ultimate straw man argument. Like, they're not sending their best. For the purpose of entertainment, they're not sending their best. Because it wouldn't be interesting most of the time if they were, like, all having the same debate back and forth. His audience isn't the people looking for the strong debates about feminism versus, I guess, a masculine society. They're looking for people to dunk on women they disagree with, which is fine, but it's a form of entertainment. And the women do it, open-eyed, knowing exactly what they're going to get from it, which is 100%. A lot of eyes on their content. It's a beneficial relationship for both involved.
Yeah, and this is why, first of all, let's, not be under this, pretense that the women are not understanding. Like, I refuse to believe that these women that they can't name 5 countries. I refuse to believe
Actually, I would
many
probably
of these women
freeze on that one.
Well, yeah, like if you're put on the spot, there's an element of freezing, but it's like I think these women absolutely understand that it's eyes on their content. It's a funnel to more and more subscriptions to OnlyFans. That being said, within this whole dialogue, because it's something I've thought about a lot, I think it's true that right-wing, particularly young men, are being driven to be more religious because there's a very important thing there that men tend to gravitate to, which is when they have an opportunity to be seriously involved in something, when they are basically provided an opportunity to be serious and strict. Okay. Men gravitate to being called to action and to something that is difficult to do. Now, the problem is, and I think this is actually very important to talk about, is the way that interacts with, politics, where you will have some men who end up, converting to the religion that they feel or see is the most based. That's a problem.
That's fair, yeah.
And you get people
Why
who...
is that a problem?
I think it's a problem because eventually you will have people leave those same faiths if the faith begins to say things like, for instance, there's a lot of, trad caths who think that, the Pope, who is the vicar of Christ, isn't that way or isn't the vicar of Christ because he's saying things that can be perceived as politically liberal. And this is where you get like the sedevacantists, people who believe that, the throne of Peter is empty, or the seat of Peter rather. That I think is an issue. I think when people put the politics before the religion.
I mean, but you also have like in the American tradition, in the American Catholic tradition, you have someone like JFK, who was famously criticized while he was running, and people would say, "Oh, you're just going to do whatever the Pope says," and he was like, "No, I keep my religion and my politics separate." And I think for a lot of Catholics, that has been an important sort of tradition of Catholicism, is that you keep your religion and your politics separate. So when you hear the Pope proselytizing about American politics, you're kind of like, excuse me, Papa, we don't necessarily need that from you. What we need from you is, meaning in a dark and cold universe.
Yeah, I mentioned yesterday, like the hiring of the bishop who was at one time the Bishop of West Virginia that he just named, that was at one time an undocumented. Their language was at one time undocumented, which was just fodder from the article to be like, he used to be an illegal immigrant, now he's legal.
He probably got
in West Virginia
somewhere along
of
the way.
all places, and it's like like if they had said like if he was put in California, that honestly makes a lot of sense. West Virginia, it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense, and it became a whole argument people were having back and forth. So they weren't able to separate the politics.
But it does. But I think that's a mistake, right? I don't think that there's anything wrong with having someone who was at one time undocumented in the United States serving as a bishop in West Virginia. I mean, I'm a Catholic in West Virginia. There's Indian priests who come through, there's Spanish-speaking priests who come through, there's Latin American, whatever. There's a dearth of priests. We don't have a lot of priests globally. So when you get one, it's kind of like if you get one and he's good and he's a leader, he's going to ascend regardless of his immigration status.
It was also a matter of framing from the article, which was designed to make people
that was
upset.
intentional. Yes. That was intentional. But as a Catholic who is opposed to immigration, who's in favor, I'm opposed to illegal immigration for sure. I like legal immigration. I think it's a perfectly good thing. I think it's a necessary thing. But, as a Catholic in favor of mass deportations of the 20 million people that came in under Biden, I have absolutely no issue with this guy.
Yeah. Well, I think the issue is not, and I actually agree, there has to be a bit of a separation between church and state. Oftentimes that's misunderstood. People believe that, you can't allow your religious convictions to influence the way you perceive politics. I think that's a huge lie. But what the problem is that people begin, instead of staking, the truth claims of their religion on, what it should actually be staked on, the scriptures, apostolic succession in the case of Catholics, sola scriptura in the case of Protestants, they begin to stake it on what aligns most with their perception of the world through a political lens. And I think that can never be the case. You know, if your belief of whether your religion is true is based on how well it aligns with your political perspective, then you've put, you know, the cart before the horse. And it's a very difficult thing to maneuver. Now, I say that as somebody who became far more religiously convicted because I was inspired by messages that I heard from political podcasts, which were about a more rigorous and a stricter view of how I ought to live as a religious person. I took my faith more serious because I heard people talking about it in more serious ways. I heard, you know, Christ came not to bring peace, but a sword. That inspired me. But eventually you realize it's not just about, you know, finding the based verses. It's about understanding the totality of the gospel.
There's a $20 super chat here from Botanic Stone says, and for the soul.
I think this was a continuation of yesterday's quote, maybe.
Okay, maybe.
Maybe. We don't really know, but thank you.
The point of the Salon article said that men and women are actually attending church at roughly the same rate.
Well, and we talked about framing. I think she's trying to demonize Christianity here.
Certainly.
Like, you can just tell she's being like, it's misogynistic, and they're using it in a way to... Like, no, we believe in having man and woman. We believe that man and woman were created, yes, for each other, but also with their own unique characteristics that inherently make them a man or a woman. The fact that a woman can, she's saying reproductive rights. You mean the fact I can carry a baby and have a baby? Like, my body can do that, which is so cool that, like, I can actually carry life. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Men can't do that. But they can lead the family, and they can become kind of the, for lack of a better term, like the head of the monarchy of a family, right? And that's what they believe. They don't believe in like beating women. That's what she's like basically like being like misogynist and hate them and they're homophobic. And it's like, we're not, first of all, phobic means afraid. I'm not afraid of gay people, okay? I believe that man and woman were made for each other to procreate, have children, all of that. And I think that in a relationship where it's a man and a man or a woman and a woman, they cannot do that.
Yeah.
And the whole point in religion of getting married and having that covenant is to have children, to create more children of God, right? And so she's framing this in a way of like, you know, Christianity bad. She brings up, I didn't even include this in there, but she includes Islam in here, trying to talk about like Andrew Tate and people that...
I'm surprised she even did that.
She did. I'm
surprised that she managed to mention both of them.
Yes,
she mentioned,
that's very rare.
I would have imagined
Andrew
her
Tate.
to mention Andrew Tate, but not
Not
connection
Islam.
to Islam.
and Sneeko and Myron Gaines, but she connects them in a way of saying like their misogyny is the same as Christian having, like, I don't know, she's trying to frame it, but like all three of those people have a very limited audience, and a lot of people actually denounce them that are either Christian or in the right wing. They're like, I don't like them.
Do you think that part of this is just that there is like this is the right wing version of like a white pill when they do these type of topics where they want to talk about the growth of religion? It's the same way that people on the right do their podcasts and they talk about how men are moving more right.
Yeah.
It's their version of like, we've got some good news today.
Yeah.
And it's like a lifeline they're throwing to their audiences in a lot of ways. And perhaps the data doesn't always actually back that up.
I'll be honest. I think it is the case. I think it is the case that right wing or that young men in particular are trending more religious. And I think it's kind of what I was describing, that a young man's temperament is going to absolutely respond positively to a call to action, to a call to something greater, and certainly purpose in a world where young men feel a lack of purpose. And that causes sometimes political, sometimes they find in this red pill thing, but eventually I think the soul is yearning for a greater goal, something higher to aspire to, and I think that is religion. And so I do think it makes sense at a psychological level that young men are becoming more religious, but that the religious views that they have are more fundamentalist, more traditionalist. When we look at like the increase in Catholicism, it's not just, everybody's going to, the Novus Ordo, new Mass. A lot of them are going to the traditional Latin Mass.
Yep.
And this is where I wonder, is it because they're trying to find the most trad-based kind of religion?
Okay,
or is it because their souls are truly converted? But I think that one can be a stepping stone to the other. So maybe this conversion at first, and certainly mine was at first, more superficial, but I think it is the seed that needs to be planted in order for young men and anybody to truly come to know Christ personally or to have a religious conviction that they are convinced of.
Okay. All right, let's move on. Let's talk about everybody has a boomer take. Just like everybody has like one take that perhaps is an outlier for their worldview. Last night I was talking about my radicalization against private equity. It's my farthest left take on anything. As somebody who's believes heavily in capitalism, the way private equity is affecting America, just in a lot of ways, I find very, very frustrating. But a lot of times in Hollywood, I find one of the most interesting thing to be the farthest left people have these kind of echoes of boomerism in how they approach the world. And what I've noticed from people on the right is the idea that they're offended by the notion that you won't help your kids, right? The idea was pull yourself up by the bootstraps and figure it out for yourself, because your parents are going to end up in a second. I was like, it's okay. The point is like the idea used to be that you want your kids to pull themselves up by the bootstraps. They'll figure it out themselves, but that's not really the world we live in anymore. In a lot of ways, that's gone as far as like the way people see economic opportunity now. It's just not the same thing. But celebrities haven't really got that memo in a lot of ways, and I think when they say stuff like this, they think they're ingratiating themselves to the average person, and they're really not. And if you're wondering what I'm talking about, Charlize Theron says that she won't support her. She didn't say black trans child.
I love the way they framed that.
This is the framing from Breitbart.
That was so funny.
Charlize Theron won't support her black trans child as an adult. Start getting ready to work at Starbucks. This is what it says. Fast and the Furious franchise star Charlize Theron says she won't support her black trans child as an adult. The actress revealed this during that she recently told her children to start getting ready to work at Starbucks. This is the quote. Every time we go to Starbucks, I'm like, look at this. Do you see how friendly you have to be at 6 a.m? Start getting ready for it, she quipped on a podcast. The Apex actress was responding to a question that was asked that if her adoptive children, ages 11 August and 14 Jackson, would have to worry about getting summer jobs as teenagers. She added that her children, whom she referred to as her daughters, despite Jackson being a biological male. Again, this is Breitbart.
I love their framing.
This is most likely, So it says, she will need to earn big purchases such as their first car. Quote, first of all, your first car is going to be a Datsun because you're going to crash it, she said, referencing to her children. You're going to F it up somehow. You're a new driver, so we're not getting like the nice car up front. We need a little bit more of experience, and we're going to earn it, she said. It's too soon to say, kind of say where things are going to end up. They just need to get a job that pays them because I don't want to support them for the rest of their life. This is not the first time she has openly discussed her parenting. She gets into talking about how she's glad that basically she's not in a relationship because she doesn't want to have to consult a man about any decisions. But your thoughts on the idea of earning it in these contexts?
I'm going to be honest, I like it. I'm going to be honest, I'm boomer pilled in that way. Like my parents had me pay for more than half the car, so I'd be the majority, shareholder. Like I was scouting to find the cheapest one that was, the most reliable. My question, and I'm trying to look this up now, is if she had to do that. Like, I wonder what her upbringing was like.
I don't know.
Who were her parents?
Yeah.
Were they like Hollywood people?
That's what I'm looking up.
I don't know if Charlize Theron is a Nepo baby.
She's born in South Africa.
Yes, she was. And even if she was, it wouldn't matter because she's reached such a level of fame where she would be the Nepo baby that surpassed, most likely, her relatives.
What do you think, Libby? You're a mom. What do you think about that?
Yeah.
Oh, let me read the 21st. Thank you for pointing that out earlier, but I was like in the middle of the monologue. I'm like, what? Is like the camera on the wrong person?
No.
From Shane H. Wilder, he says, I've had priests from all over the world. I will say that African priests are hardest on you for the sake of your soul. As the joke goes, you confess your sins to an African priest and get asked, why do you hate Jesus?
Okay. That's metal.
Continue.
Yes.
That's like the trick of always going to confession when you're overseas and finding a priest that doesn't speak English.
Perfect.
That's a move. But yeah, in terms of getting your kids to earn stuff, I mean, you have to parent your kid the way your kid needs to be parented. I look at raising my son as like my job is to guide him to adulthood, helping him figure out how to navigate the world as the person he is. Providing a really strong moral foundation, that's huge. So these are the things that are important. If you think that if you buy your kid, specifically your kid, a car, that's going to make them entitled and bratty and make them not feel like they need to work for something else, then don't buy your kid a car. But that doesn't mean that it's not right for some other parent to buy their kid a car, right? Like, I learned to drive way later in life. I lived in New York City. Subways are fine, as far as I was concerned. Eventually, I needed a license and a car.
Yeah.
And so here I am, grown person with a job and a career, whatever, with a child. My mom bought me my first car. I was a grown up when she did it. And thanks, Mom.
Yeah.
And she said, I would have bought you your car when you were 16. You never learned to drive, so I'm buying it for you now. She would have bought it for me then. It would not have ever stood in the way of my seeking to achieve on my own terms. That never would have been a thing. Other kids, I'm sure it would. When I'm talking to my son, I'm talking to him about and he's a boy, and I think there's some differences there. And I'm talking to him about get a job and we'll work on it together, and you'll be on my insurance, sure, but we're going to work it out. And that's different for him.
Yeah.
He wanted a new pair of headphones, and he was like, my headphones just broke. Can you buy me this pair? And I will pay you back when I get paid in a couple, he's supposed to get paid in a couple days, whatever. I was like, sure, I'll bridge you $50 for the headphones.
Make him fill out an IOU.
But he's going to give it back to me.
Yeah.
And that's him.
Yeah.
So if I bought him a car, he would end up feeling shitty about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if I split it with him, he'll feel good about it.
Exactly.
And so it really depends on who your kid is. And maybe her kid is not a kid who should get a car from their parents when they're 16.
Well, she's also
but some kids are. Like my brother, my mom bought my brother a car when he was 16. He's doing great. He's, terrific.
I feel like she kind of talks down to them too. She's like, oh, you're going to have to work here one day. It's not a productive conversation to kind of just be like, see, that's going to be you one day. It's like, you could phrase it maybe a little better to make it not seem so.
No, I think it's.
What? Look at the way these people live.
Yeah,
you're
that's
gonna have
gonna
to
be
do
you.
that. You're gonna need to go and get a job.
It sort of makes sense because they're all trans at Starbucks, so her kid would fit in well.
Right. It's just
maybe Sephora would be a better
something. Lush.
I think every trans person in the entirety of Utah works at the downtown Sephora location. I've been into buy perfume or what's the male way of calling it?
Cologne.
My bad.
Male perfume.
Male perfume.
I guess it's just for somebody like her, when you reach a certain tax bracket, I almost don't fault them for feeling disconnected from the average person. It's like we had the list. I don't know if we can even want to go through it, but there's always these examples of the celebrities who say they're not going to give their inheritance to the kids or their wealth to their kids. They're going to give it to charity.
Well, because you worry that your kid's going to turn out a dumbass who can't take care of themselves. And if you look at the history of the aristocracy in England, it'll be the third or fourth generation lord or lady is a total degenerate who's gambling all the money and can't take care of himself and doesn't know what to do. Look at what's his name, the other prince, not the one who's going to be king, but the one who's married to the actor.
Yeah, Harry.
Is it Harry? Yeah.
Harry's married.
Harry.
What a disaster! No one ever should have bought him a car when he was.
Yeah, but he was
right.
He just shouldn't have met Meghan Markle. He was
that's
fine.
That's a
he
good
liked
point, too.
he liked
was
guns
he was
and hanging with the bros, and then he met Meghan Markle, and it all went down.
And that's a problem. But if you look at it, if you look at that sort of history, they say that generational wealth lasts
2 generations,
2 or 3 generations, and then it's a disaster. So,
but that's not my problem with it. My problem is it feels to me like when the celebrities do that, it's not about saving their children. It's that they feel it's a virtue signal to act like they're somehow better than you by giving the money to charity rather than their own children because, oh, shucks, I had to pull myself up by the bootstraps. Because they think they're teaching their son a lesson, maybe. But mostly I feel like they're signaling to the public, look at how down to earth I am.
Look
My
how normal
son's
I
not.
am.
I think there's a weird trade that you have to make if you're a Hollywood famous person and you have children. I think something bad's going to happen with your children every time. They kill themselves. They end up trans. They end up they
Rob
kill
Reiner.
you.
Yeah.
I think it's a bad plan to raise your kid in Hollywood as a Hollywood kid.
Real.
And so you should figure that out before you start telling everybody what you're going to do about charity or giving them cars. And I think that a lot of parents probably in this situation are freaked out that their kid's just going to not know how to take care of themselves. And your main job as a parent is to make sure your kid can take care of themselves as an adult.
There's plenty of actors now who are the son of or daughters of famous celebrities who the biggest complaint people have about them is they seem to have gotten a step up in life, right? But that's not to say that they didn't. Who's Dennis Quaid's son? I forget. It's not Randy.
Who's Dennis Quaid?
It's I forget his son's name, but he's doing very well in life. A lot of these kids who come from actors or actresses are doing very well because they were given the opportunity to do so. But it's not about whether they got the opportunity; it's about whether they got got the opportunity to capitalize on it. I actually commend Denzel Washington's son, John David Washington, who's just never going to be his dad. And I actually feel bad for him because he sounds exactly like his dad, and Denzel Washington is a legendary actor, but he's trying. And he's acting and he gets roles. He's never going to be his dad, but it's not like he's out here behaving like a bad person. He's just working in industry where he just kind of decided that his cross to bear was to choose a profession where he's never going to be his dad.
Yeah. Well, and I think the point of like the generational wealth and whatnot, that's like what you see at a civilizational level, where like with the United States, eventually because
Jack
people...
Quaid. Sorry. Thank you, guys.
Okay, yeah. Because people don't have this sense of responsibility, and also they don't have a goal to like pay something to the country, do something new. That becomes very dangerous, and it gets squandered. You get to the point where you have the baby boomer generation, which is like, we're gonna buy all this nice stuff, and we're not really gonna leave anything behind, and we're also going to create a circumstance that is really not conducive to the prospering of all of our children in the future generations.
And live forever because of scientific advancements.
Yeah, literally.
A great example is, and I'm sure they got money after he passed, but Michael Jackson's kids are pretty low profile. Like, I think his oldest is like something in medicine or something now.
Is that the daughter, Paris?
No, Prince.
Okay.
Prince is like...
Wasn't there one named Blanket?
Blanket. He changed his name in like 2015 or something.
I would do that too.
Yeah, he legally
Totally
changed
valid.
his name. Like,
Can you,
actually valid.
A great sitcom would be the lady at the name change office who has to process all the name change. Like, and her whole thing is like she's like writing a book and she's asking them, so like, what was
happened?
the worst thing that happened to you because
My
of your
dad helped me
shitty
out of a
name?
window with a blanket, and it just kind of happened that way. Like, I'm reading now, it says that Prince Jackson he's at a meal delivery organization to help people that couldn't go out and get food because of COVID. He would help deliver food. The only thing he's done in media is executive produce the new Michael movie, and that's just
Most of the family.
Yeah, that's usually what happens. But that it was his cousin that actually portrayed Michael Jackson, not him. So it's actually quite interesting. They're a good example of people that maybe just keep a lower profile.
I feel like the concept of the celebrity who says they're not leaving their money to their kid was one of those things that worked really, really well as a headline 15 years ago, and the cultural zeitgeist around it has changed completely. And now they'd be like, because now people are struggling. They're like, "What? Why wouldn't you do that? If I had kids, I would absolutely be passing my wealth on down to them." Whereas like that wasn't the value.
Well, you pass your wealth on, but also you like have them grow up like human beings and not just entitled brats.
The best thing you could do is
could
probably
be an entitled brat at any like income bracket. You could be an entitled brat when your parents are on welfare. Or if your parents are rich. It really doesn't matter what the cash flow is.
Yeah, there's a lot more to parenting than just like, the financial like responsibility part or like how well off you are. That's very true. I think the best thing that you could do as a parent as far as your child's concerned is probably stop them from cutting off their genitals. And that would probably be more, formative.
You've already surpassed so many parents.
Yeah, it would be more formative maybe for them to reel that in a bit than making them work at Starbucks, where they'll likely be more inclined to do so after working there.
All right. What would you guys like to see? We do cringe here. We do cue to the day here. What would you guys like to see first?
The cringe isn't that bad. I went so easy because we have guests in the studio today.
So it's not super
I decided
bad?
not to put anything super degenerate up there, like anything that's just... It's pretty simple. It relates to a topic we talked about. We can do that.
So it says protesters outside of the Met Gala staged their own red carpet style demonstration. Imagine the self-importance. I love the paper mache and construction paper of it all. Here we go.
Whoa, that woman is way richer than the other woman we saw.
Yeah, she's got like
got way more dollar
bunch
bills.
of dollar bills, and not just one.
They should let her in.
Ready to shatter the billionaire class.
Bruh.
Shatter the billionaire class.
Shimmering in
Revolutionary red.
This is
Oh
the
my
problem.
goodness.
Like, I was on IRL. I was like, you know what? Private equity is kind of crappy. And then I see this stuff, and I'm like, okay, fine.
Okay,
Let
but
them
you
buy
know,
everything.
the worst part is any of these people, if they had gotten an invite to the Met Gala, they'd have taken it.
Well, that's
they'd
the
take
thing. Of course they'd go.
Yeah, they'd go because they wanted to dress up and do their own red carpet.
It says Bezos and the Epstein class are so out of fashion.
Ugh. So stupid.
Dude, politics is just people who like to play dress up. Like, that's literally it.
Yeah.
People like to dress in suits and other attire and film the videos. And if they don't have videos to film, they're not there.
Yeah.
Like, that's literally, I'm so sick of just the cosplaying. This happens, by the way, with right-wing people, too. Like, especially the more kind of, extreme, like the far right or like fascist-coded people. They just like dressing in uniforms. That is literally it. It's just LARP.
Wait, so,
You're not political.
Patriot Front wasn't feds? It's literally just dudes who like khakis?
Unironically, yes. Unironically, they're not feds. They are, theater kids, and they are, they are people who were in the arts when they were in high school, and they just keep dressing up because they think it makes them cool. And you know what the red pill is, or the clear pill? The clear pill is the best people are just the Civil War reenactors. Because they're like, I'm not going to pretend to do any big political thing. I'm just gonna live out this fantasy. Like, I'm just gonna be with the boys and put on a uniform. I'm not gonna mess around with all this political stuff. I'm not gonna have any pretense about this that I'm doing a big thing.
Celebrate fashion, not fascists.
Literally, dude.
Bruh.
What is going on with these people?
We do have cute of the day, however.
Cleanse the palate a little bit.
Yep, cleanse the palate. Cute of the day. This is from Scott over here. He says, this is Nami. She's 4 years old.
Oh,
She's very
cute puppy.
More of a cat guy, but
Yeah, we've got 3 cats when we're cat people.
I'm a cat conservative.
Yeah, let's go.
All right, we've got more stuff to get into. Let's talk about MIA. We can have a discussion about where is the line on
And we
hypocrisy here.
We can also hear your paper plane story.
Well, I mean,
yes.
if we need to, but that's fine.
Yes.
Continue.
Kid Cudi has fired MIA from his tour after she was booed during a what they're calling Republican rant. I won't have someone on stage making offensive remarks. In a now viral video of comments made by MIA on May 2nd when they were performing in Dallas, she was booed during a monologue, including some lines that said, "I've been canceled for many reasons. I never thought I'd be canceled for being a brown Republican voter." She also said, "I can't do illegal, though some of you could be in the audience." And then Kid Cudi came out and said on Instagram on May 4th, "Tour update. MIA is no longer on this tour. I told my management to send a notice to her team before we started tour that I didn't want anything offensive at my show because I already knew what time it was, and I was assured things were understood. After the last couple shows have been flooded with messages from fans that were upset by her rants, this, to me, is very disappointing, and I won't have someone on my tour making offensive remarks that upsets my fan base. Thank you for understanding." But I do want to read her response.
Not the all caps version.
No,
but
I
yes.
literally went and typed in my notes all the regular because I couldn't do all the caps. It was really bothering me.
Yep.
Illegal, and this is a song name, by the way, just so that we're not lost here. So she said in all caps, "I wrote Illegal on the Maya LP, a song from 2010. I started this intro to the song with a statement saying, 'I'm illegal,' and I said my team hasn't gotten visas yet. Then I played a song that has the lyrics, 'F the law,' which I still believe. If the law is unjust, F it. Do not gaslight my words. This is the work of Satan. I wrote Borders and Illegal and Paper Planes before you thought migrant rights were cool. I've had these battles by myself without the help of millions of fans backing me. I don't need this virtue signal era to all of a sudden erase an entire life that I've led. Jesus was an immigrant and a rebel. I have no apology for the judgmental, the wicked, and the ignorant. For those are spirits that we must overcome in our lives and in this world. Jesus returns to lead the world justly because there is injustice in the world. I'm proud of those who fight for it every day. God bless you. Listen to MI7. I mean, like,
W plug.
Honestly, the plug at the end is what did it for me. You had opinions on this. I don't know. What's your opinion?
Look, we complain all the time when Bruce Springsteen interrupts his shows to talk about Trump. I think it's fair to hold the right to the same standards, or at least be willing to admit that you really it's really more about whether you agree with them or not.
No.
I would rather not, especially since it's not her show.
Yeah.
If this is her concert and the venue does this, there's a discussion to be had. But this is Kid Cudi's event in which he's the headliner, and he would prefer he not deal with an upset audience when he gets on stage. I don't have a problem with him. Maybe if I was to give some benefit of the doubt, it's maybe she should have gotten a warning and then not do it again.
Yeah, maybe that would have been.
But again, that's neither here nor there.
She could have. We might not know that.
It's his business, and if I'm him, And first of all, from everything I remember, he probably doesn't agree with her anyways.
Yeah.
That's his business, and I don't want to hear annoying Republican ranting at concerts, and I don't want to hear annoying Democrat ranting at concerts if I'm there to listen to music. Now, if it was her show and she's a political artist, that's different, right? Like you're kind of expecting it. You're going to Bruce Springsteen, you're literally there for the hypocrisy of buying a $90 No King shirt.
Yeah.
Whatever. But again, that's his show. My opinion is no flags in the play. He's completely
what was she
within his power.
canceled for besides being a brown Republican voter? Her words. Like, I don't recall her being canceled before, even for being a Republican. I didn't even know she was a Republican.
There was some other stuff.
There was.
And she got in
Okay.
trouble
Yeah.
about some different things. I don't remember if it was like, you know, Sri Lankan stuff or what.
Okay,
but there was
maybe.
something else going on. I think it's weak, you know, to kick an artist off your tour because you don't like what she said. Just be like,
He said
into political stuff.
that he didn't want him doing it, and then she did it anyways. In that case, if she really wanted to do it, she says, "Okay, fine, I'm going to go find somebody who can put me on tour."
She didn't even get the
doesn't care.
visas because she knew she was getting kicked off.
That's kind of funny. She's like,
I did think it was funny that she said, like, "Oh, my team hasn't gotten visas yet," and they're like in the U.S. But I mean, look, this isn't as bad as a Bruce Springsteen. Honestly, like, it's not a
no, but I mean,
rant
imagine
against
being.
Democrats.
There's plenty of people who like Bruce Springsteen who are not Democrats, and they have to
that's what
suffer
I'm
through
saying.
his stuff.
Yeah,
I still think it's weak to kick her off the tour just because you don't like what she said. Like, you know, a better statement would be, I think her music is incredible. That's why I have her on the tour.
Not because of her
We don't
beliefs.
necessarily share political views. I don't think it really matters. If you like the tunes, you like the tunes. Have
I guess
fun.
That's
You know, it's like how much was her rant? Like what? Like maybe 5-10 minutes?
I don't know.
How
like,
long was it?
How did he not expect this to happen? It's like, this is what she does. Like, I've heard about, like, Mia talking about political stuff. Like, she was big in, like, during the C-19 era. I don't know if we can say that.
Yeah, we can say it.
Yeah, COVID, yeah. She was big in that era. Like, she said a couple moments. But it's never, like, it's not that she's, like, some crazy radical right-wing figure. It's like, dude, she's, like, very much, well, let's just give equal treatment to these different humanitarian causes. Jesus was a refugee. I loved most of her statement. Then she's like, Jesus was a refugee. And I'm like, girl, what?
I was waiting to
Girl.
say, do you want to do you want to rebut?
What, her?
He wasn't. That's the answer.
Yeah. It's like, I don't know. I think that he should have expected, Kid Cudi should have expected her to do that. And
he did. That's why he said beforehand, we told them not to, and then she did it anyway.
Yeah.
Like, and again, like, I'm not disagreeing with her. I'm saying that she was given clear, like marching orders, like this, if you want to be on tour with me, which gives you access to a huge fan base and
That's
potentially
true.
making more money, like, then I ask you to follow the rules that I've put in place here. Now, and I even said, if he wants to come out after and do a bunch of, like, left-wing proselytizing, that's still his right, because it's his name on the marquee, and he has hired her. And her job, when you're the opening act, is to prime the crowd for the rest of the show.
She was just getting them hyped up.
I don't know. For the guy who like just recently came back in the news because it was revealed he was tripping on acid at an MGMT concert, and
true.
also was like most recently notable because he was messing around with Diddy's girlfriend or something like that.
Who hasn't done that?
Like, I mean, there's been
All of
many,
us
right?
have.
Yeah.
But like the point is. Really? Like, really, guy? This
I
is
guess,
you.
it
You're
does
so
come off
pure and perfect
hypocritical.
because
Yep.
you have a leftist political perspective, perhaps. So you get to do whatever you want, and you're kicking MIA off. Like,
that's always my thing.
You're
with,
an idiot, and you're wrong.
That's my thing with the rappers. It's like, dude, and admittedly, in self-defense, but it's like, the baby literally killed a guy. You're canceling him for using a slur about
That's
gay
very
people.
true.
Right.
Very true.
Like, you're
Totally
telling me
stupid.
these rappers who rap about murdering people, stealing, and just like doing all kinds of
They're dropping the
devilish
N-word all the
deeds.
time. Yeah.
You're like really upset that they are homophobic? Like, what did you think? You think that the guy who's like very like tolerant of murdering people
Is somehow going to be
is going to be like in
like an
favor of
ally?
gay people?
Yeah, like, no.
So that's the thing, and that's how you know that all of it's fake. And that's how I love that about the rapper class, because it's like, dude, if you allow a manager to get you to stop saying whatever political idea or controversial idea you may have, and you're still rapping about killing people, you're not about that life. Like, it's so performative.
I kind of, I believe that country music is the same way.
Yeah.
In that they live in a mansion in Nashville and sell you the image of small town life.
But then you do get the moments where the audience and the artist are aligned, like when who was it, Morgan Wallen that said the N-word, or who was it?
Yep.
And his streams shot up, and it's like, okay,
That was I think that was a response to like the perceived they overhyped the cancellation of him.
Yeah.
They're like, okay, I'm just gonna stream him harder now.
And people were like, he just like me for real.
Yeah.
Look, I see it, and I'm like, maybe it's because I'm particularly in the pop culture space, and anytime one of these stories comes up, they're like, shut up and sing. No, or to the actors, they shut up. Nobody cares about your political opinions. But it's not. That's not really the answer. I say a lot of people on the right, they're desperate to hear their views parroted back to them because they don't have the comfort of hearing their worldview kind of repeated back to them all the time because it's counterculture to what's acceptable in society in America right now. Whatever you want to say about how much the Overton window has moved, they're not getting the mainstream pushing that back to them. So I was just looking for a little bit of intellectual consistency there. Now, if Kid Cudi was like, we're doing the political debate tour, and it's really about bringing a bunch of people with different, now if his tour was
next, we got Kanye West.
Yes, that'd be kind of cool, right?
I'll go hard.
Kind of based, honestly.
I mean, him and Kanye have worked together in the past. So
Kids See Ghosts.
Wasn't Cudi on the list of people Kanye said betrayed him?
Yeah.
Yep, right
I
there
could
with
see
Virgil.
That. He looks like a total betrayer. He's like, I could do whatever, but you can't. Sorry,
not you though.
Not you. Just me.
So true. Betrayal for thee, but not for me.
All right.
Or for me, but not for thee.
All right. This is one of the more serious topics, I suppose. This is a depressing way of saying that society is cooked. So the other day, a video montage was going around with a bunch of young women and young men preparing for prom. And the problem was what would have at one time been a wholesome video showing kids, it's a transition video like they always do on TikTok, wipe transition, something like that. They're in their regular street clothes. All of a sudden they are in their prom outfits, and it should be wholesome, at least by 2026 standards. That's what you imagine is wholesome. Yeah. Instead of prom photos, you have people doing prom TikTok transitions. And it took a dark turn because what people are doing, in Brian Atlas from the Whatever podcast posted about this, women post video using the Charlie Kirk assassination sounds for outfit transitions. This is growth. This is gross, and this is the empathy side, which of course he decides to focus on there. I'm debating on whether I don't really want to play the audio.
No.
I don't think anybody needs to hear it again, but you can get the general idea of what's going on here if you've heard the video.
I was here the day that happened. Remember?
Yeah,
we were talking about that earlier,
and I had been on Charlie's show that morning.
Yeah. We were on our honeymoon when it happened, and I was actually going back and forth with whether I was going to message you guys and see what you were going to do that day. But this is the video. Basically, is these women they do the transition.
His last words, yeah.
Yes. Thoughts? Are we as cooked?
It's disgusting. It's vile, and it speaks to the desensitizing of society as a whole.
Oh, you never want to talk fast and say desensitization.
I know, desensitization.
It's like saying politicization.
Yeah.
That's a rough one.
Proselytization.
And we're all coming from a point of view of being in the space, right?
Yeah.
Libby's coming from a point of view of knowing him. And so we are going to take this maybe a bit more... I don't even want to say more seriously because it is very serious, but they see it as a joke. Yeah. They're desensitized, and to us, it's not funny. Someone we loved, cared about, and knew was brutally murdered in front of hundreds of people and then put out to millions. Yep. And TikTok did take the audio down. Okay, let's give them credit where it's due. Yeah. TikTok did take the audio down.
Larry Ellison.
Yeah, that's good on their part. The fact that they can sit there and study what those words were, his last words, and then all say them, mouth them, and make the transition. What are they doing? Where are your parents? What is going on? There were people that you could tell people are getting ready and stuff in the background. How do you not realize what's going on with your children and that they're making these jokes? And it could be anybody, and that's just disgusting.
But they like it. The parents, the parents are into it, right? The parents like to think that Charlie was a hateful person because they never actually checked it out.
Yeah.
So I mean that's part of it too, is you have parents who are cool with it, you have teachers who are cool with it. Remember we saw teachers around Halloween wearing
bloody shirts.
bloody shirts with like the makeup on their neck and stuff. So that is something that we've already seen. And it's interesting to me too, because we have the case going on right now. What's his name? Tyler Robinson he hasn't entered a plea yet, but he's essentially facing trial as soon as that starts. And there's a fight going on now in the court between the defense and the prosecution, and the judge has to decide. I think that's the decision is coming up May 8th, I believe. But he has to decide about having cameras in the courtroom. And what's interesting is that the defense was saying, it's bad to have cameras in the courtroom because we could be prejudicing a jury. And so their idea is that they don't want the public to see the truth. They don't want them to see the evidence. They don't want them to hear what the prosecution has to say. They don't want the public to hear from witnesses. They only want the public to hear from people on TikTok who are making horrific videos. They only want the public to hear from people who are laughing about Charlie's murder. They only want to hear from the podcasters who are, deriding Charlie Kirk's friends and family. That's who the defense in this case wants the public to hear from. And when you look at the media surrounding the case, surrounding, this brutal killing, this murder on live stream, and you compare it to, what a trial would actually show, you can see clearly why there needs to be public access to this case so that the truth comes out.
Yeah, I used to be of the opinion, right, that that you should never take things serious unless they are very personally serious to you. Like, I think people would freak out, oh, I got a death threat online. Look at how evil this is. It's like, everybody gets death threats online. I was very much of the opinion, like, if I'm not really personally, put at risk, then I'm not going to act as if I was, even if to an outsider it looks justifiable. That all changed after Charlie's murder. After Charlie's murder, like, we had an event at the University of Utah where a guy came and made like a gun motion and said that we should get kirked. And now typically I'm like, okay, this is just like a belligerent a-hole. Like, I don't want anything. Like, I don't think it's worth it to arrest him. I don't think it's worth it to do anything. No, ever since then, my opinion has totally changed. The desensitization to violence is absolutely the number one predictor of more violence to occur. And that is the problem. We need to be 100% like rigorous in saying, hey, the desensitization that you people are demonstrating to this violent assassination with political motives is not okay. And you need to be shown that by having, this guy, we got him for a misdemeanor. He was arrested on the spot by the campus police. They did a great job. And with girls like this, it's like, no, there needs to be disciplinary action that occurs, because it is dangerous when you allow people to get away with being so callous towards a murder which has serious political and social ramifications.
I was talking to Mary about this yesterday, and I was trying to work my way through how I feel about it, because I guess it's the personal nature of it being a singular individual. Have you ever heard the saying? It's like one death is a tragedy, 1,000 is a statistic. Okay, so it sounds like I'm making like a weird pivot here, but like 9/11 jokes have been made for a very long time. I've never been offended by them in any way, shape, or form. And we had a discussion about why is it that a joke about a mass casualty event is not seen the same way as the tragedy around a singular individual.
Well, because the single individual is targeted. Americans as a whole were targeted, and I feel like it's kind of like when I make jokes about a parent dying, as I've had that right? Like, it's like it affected everybody in a way where we're all American and we can all relate to that. Whereas with Charlie, I mean, that was targeted, it was brutal, and it was clearly to send a message to the right that you're not safe. That's what they're saying, right? That's what Tyler Robinson wanted to say, and that's what they all want to say. And I'll never forget that day. And that actually, weirdly enough, happened to be the 10-year anniversary of my mom dying. So it was literally like that day was already kind of like, we were going one spot to another, and I was kind of like, let's just go down to the Niagara Falls and then maybe just like hang out for tonight. I don't really want to do anything crazy. And I'll get to Shane in a second here. But I'll never forget, like, we were in the car and when Brett said it, and then it's like 2 p.m. We're like, what are they going to do? We knew Libby was going to be on that day. So we're like, what is happening? I mean, like, for them to make fun of that reaction that so many of us had, right? And then we're away from home. We're like helpless. Like, we can't be there for our friends. We're like, it really was one of those days where, like, I'll never forget where I was that day. Let's see. Shane H. Wilder said, I commented on this TikTok and the libs came after me for chastising them. I'm sorry, but I will never forget being in the PCC chat when we learned what happened, and the look on Mary, Tate, and Libby's faces just broke me. Yeah, we did. We were driving. We popped it up, and because we were like, you know, we were curious. We didn't want to like bother.
I complimented Mary because I was like, literally, sometimes I feel like I'm so detached. I was like, I probably would have tried to go through with the show. Yeah. Because they didn't do the show. Obviously, at that time, I didn't know Libby how well you knew him. So obviously, it would have been very different if I'd been here in person. Yeah. But sometimes I can be really disconnected from things, and I'd have been like, no, let's just go through with it because, you know, it's...
But your instinct is to keep moving.
Yes.
When tragedy occurs. Your instinct is to go.
I guess when I think about it in the context of 9/11, the easiest argument is to say more time has passed. Yeah. But I also believe that because of the internet, we have like desensitization, as we say, has kind of exploded. It's not a commensurate rate to like a slow crawl. Yeah. Everybody is more desensitized so quickly right now because the information is just, you're pounded with information constantly. I still my biggest conspiracy is I don't think we're ever gonna have a 2-term president again because information goes about so quickly now that people will sour on someone instantaneously, and that same ability to kind of prevent people from even staying attached to a politician is like they'll get desensitized to somebody's death or something awful happening because also we're irony poisoned and nobody wants to take anything seriously.
The irony poisoning is the problem, and I'd say what the biggest difference is, at least for me, because I do believe like that there shouldn't be jokes that are like particularly off limits. Like I don't think you can provide a consistent measure. Like if you say, well, you can't joke about one thing but you can about the other. The thing is with these Charlie Kirk videos, it's not actually a joke. Like it's not that somebody has like done something humorous. It's the fact that they are making light of like a political assassination, not as a part of a joke, but literally to say like, we got away with it, we got you, he's dead. It is being gleeful about death. Now, the 9/11 jokes, nobody's happy about the people that have died, and nobody's justifying the murders. Are there memes about it? Yeah, absolutely. But it's the intent that matters. And this political intent here, like the intent of a 9/11 joke, it could never be used to justify or to make more easy another 9/11. Yeah. These jokes, however, do. These jokes say, we literally got away with it. That you know, people cheered and nothing happened at the end of the day. There was not a significant crackdown on political violence.
There was a couple of tweets I saw from Ryan Lee. Says it's all 100% women and their ideas too. The soy boys in this video just went along with it. Social media has obliterated the minds of young women. They have become mentally ill at rates you cannot even begin to fathom. All for the drug of attention. No values, morals, or principles. Just follow social media trends. Say all the right things for approval and live with zero accountability. Quote, hey, this is socially acceptable and it's a viral trend. Yeah, I'll use the audio of a father getting murdered for a TikTok transition. I'll get so many views. A thirst that can never be quenched. Digitally injected mental illness. I think that's kind of passing the buck on the guys who were willing to be in those videos. Like, I don't think that's a fair to just take them off his rebuke of them is calling them soy boys, like, which is acting as if they have no agency in this, where a dude could be like, this is ghoulish. Yeah. No.
Well, this isn't the only instance we've seen. Yesterday or 2 days ago, when Rudy Giuliani went into the hospital just a few days ago, the lesser-known Hadid sister, I guess.
Is Gigi? Gigi
and Bella
Gigi's
are
the
like
lesser-known one?
No, Gigi and Bella are known.
You guys, these are refugees. A little respect.
You're right. I'm sorry. Alana Hadid has...
I didn't know there was a third.
Yeah, I didn't either until literally this post. She is the 40-year-old sister of both Bella and Gigi. She posted on an Instagram reel after Giuliani's spokesman said that he was hospitalized.
Got him. We have something on this show called tonal issues, which is...
I'm just glad it was when we got to Alana.
The crisis party always comes at like the most inopportune time.
I was watching it and I was like, oh no, it's going to be at this topic too. Yeah, I was like, oh, here we go.
What happens.
Good pivot to Alana.
So if you don't know, Crisis Party, there might be new people watching. Crisis Party comes every time we get $100 in super chats. So thank you guys.
We do a little dance for you guys. Yeah. Well, I do, I guess, but Brett won't. But Alana,
I like bob my head.
You bobbed your head.
Bob my head a little.
I swayed my hips a little. You can see it's below the table. But.
Yeah, but he did.
I did nothing.
That's okay.
That's
okay. You don't need to.
I did go see Phil's band last week, though.
Yes,
fun?
I saw
It
that.
was awesome.
Yeah.
He was killer.
I was told
Love that.
Charles crowd surfed when they went.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So did Lisa.
Let's go.
So did there was somebody else that did, and I was like, really? Was it Tate? Maybe it was either Tate or Kellen, one from Crowd Surf.
Charles did.
Charles, and then one of the other guys did too. It was two of them.
I would pay to see an image of Kellen crowd surfing.
Yeah.
I would pay for that.
Yeah. So
I'll throw in
Alana-
25 cents on
There
that.
you go.
literally like 50 maybe. So she posted a reel with the audio, "Girl, this is awesome," over it, and then the article was behind her. She simply captioned it, "So what did everyone have for lunch today?" And in the comments section she added, "This one might get me in trouble." Many people said that they agreed with her, and her audience said that. But there was someone that said, if empathy only applies to people we agree with, it's not really empathy. And she responded, her father's from he's Palestinian, if you don't know that. I don't know if that's like a real, I don't know. But Mohammed Hadid, she replied and said, "When your politics endangers my life, it's no longer an opinion." Which
Yeah.
I don't know how her life is impacted by the war in Gaza, but
Yeah.
okay.
Well, the thing is, the UN has said that anyone who has ancestors who were in Gaza in 48 and who left, or in wherever in Israel, that they're now refugees. This is the only group of people in the world where refugee status is grandfathered in to all of your descendants.
Oh,
and it makes absolutely no sense.
yeah.
You know, Ilhan Omar's daughter is not a refugee just because Ilhan Omar was a refugee. Like it doesn't you know, you don't inherit refugee status unless you're Palestinian, according to the UN.
Well, I'm very anti-United Nations. That's probably my biggest,
You were in
my
Model
pet issue.
UN.
That's why
Actually,
I hate it so much.
Hey, devil's advocate time. I actually do think it is the case for both of the ethnic groups of the region. Like, I think ethnic Jews as well kind of are grandfathered. I mean, more than grandfathered in. I mean, this is all the way back to, you know, the diaspora, all the way back to the expulsion from Jerusalem. But I think both they make the refugee status claim. And that's
Yep.
the problem, is that, okay, who's more of a refugee?
Yeah, I mean, look, my anti-UN take is specific to having done Model UN for 10 years.
Let's go.
Like, I saw how unproductive
Like
that
they
can
would
be.
tell the stories of like the cops who worked in like South Central LA who
Yeah.
went
Dude,
in
yeah,
normal
like
and came
it's-
out super racist.
It's like every time we do it, you can just see how messed up it is. And it's
Yep.
like, you know, we're college kids. I get that we're not, but they're all college educated. They're not like, if we can't we literally write a strongly worded letter. That's what the
Yep.
UN does. They
Real.
write strongly worded letters. They put it out there and they go, and that's our opinion on it. Like,
Put on our
okay,
blue hats.
cool. Put
Yep.
on their little blue hats and go commit crimes against
Yeah.
people that they're trying to protect, is
Real.
what they say. So I have a lot of opinions. Maybe next time I'm on IRL,
You know
I'll get
what's
to bring it
you know
up.
what's so funny? I did Model UN once. Guess which country I represented?
Oh God, was it Israel?
It wasn't Israel.
Is it Argentina?
No, it was the other country that people accuse you of being paid by if you're anti-Israel, which is Qatar.
Oh,
I
really?
I
Okay.
represented Qatar. So people will, like, I've had that
Gotta be
comment being
Qatar.
made about me where they're like, "You're paid by Qatar." I'm like, the only relation I have to
Yeah, to
Qatar
Qatar.
is that I represented them in Model UN
I
when
did
I was
represent
17.
the Soviet Union in a historical council.
Let's
That was
go.
for me. But
Yeah, I was on like the Human Rights Council. I'm like, look, guys, you know, women. As long as they've, like, you know, got a hijab on, it's chilling. We're fine.
chilling.
All right, let's move on, ladies and gentlemen. So Ozempic has kind of taken hold of Hollywood. We understand that now. Body positivity was in a lot of ways a farce. It was a lot of people, they didn't want to put in the work to get skinny, so instead of doing that, they just started to laud and applaud those who were fat. I guess it kind of makes sense. It's like, why bother losing weight if you can just celebrate people who are oversized? Then you don't have to do anything about it. Well, it's actually ended up hurting a lot of people's bottom line. Plus size model Ashley Graham has been raging about Hollywood's acceptance of GLP-1s. If you don't know what a GLP-1 is, that is when we're talking about your Wegovy, your Ozempic, all of that stuff. She said... It says, plus-size model Ashley Graham, let me put it up on the screen there. Plus-size model Ashley Graham says weight loss drugs like GLP-1s are a smack in the face to the body positivity movement. This is her quote. There was a pendulum that swung that was so body acceptance, body positivity, everybody be who they want to be, and now it's going back to this whole opposite way that feels like a smack in the face to the women who have felt like they've had a voice. She said this in an interview. she went on to say that she hopes that there will be women who are considered plus size forever and predicts that the drug won't wipe out a whole statistic of women. Few things have been more amusing to watch than the brand spanking new body positivity movement go up in flames with the arrival of GLP-1s, a miracle drug, or so Donald Trump calls it, the fat shot.
She's talking about it. It's like fat genocide is occurring. It's like, what are we doing?
Like, people aren't dying. They're
Also,
getting skinny.
Is that even her? Like
that is her.
That does not look like her. What you can like perform all the surgery you want on your face,
yes.
but the moment you like take a drug to reduce your weight, it's a problem. Like, are
No,
we so
you shouldn't
serious?
be putting all this. You shouldn't be surgically enhancing your face.
Yeah.
Either you should, if you are healthy,
Yes.
you win.
Yes.
Like, that's amazing. Stop doing weird stuff to
Real.
yourself. I'm also super against I'm against the genital surgeries on people. I think that's bad. And then people are like, oh, but you're okay with girls getting their boob jobs when they're 60. No, dude. Not okay.
No.
Not okay. Not okay with nose jobs when I was 16. I think I've said this on the show before. My aunt was like, so when are you getting your nose done?
What?
And I was like,
That's
never.
crazy.
Never breaking my nose on purpose.
Those are those
never
stories
doing that.
where you hear somebody say like their own family said something like that to them. It's like I read
Oh,
those
that's
stories.
like the nicest thing my family has said. But the thing is, I mean, when that's a different story. But the thing is, don't do this stuff to yourself. And the
Yeah.
thing with Ozempic is it doesn't just make you not want to eat, which I think sounds
Yeah,
awful because
that
I
sounds
look
terrible.
forward to the things. I'm like a great cook and I look forward to the things I'm
Yeah.
going to eat. I'm like, ooh, I'm going to have
Yes.
a bunch of strawberries, and some
Yeah.
whipped cream with that. It's going to be amazing.
yum.
And I love that. But it makes you not want to eat. It makes you not want sex. It makes you have, like, it makes your
Yeah.
desire limited. It also makes your hair fall out. It can make you go blind. Like, I would rather be fat and happy with, like, a good
Honestly.
dinner coming and, like, good relationship that's healthy than any of this stuff. I mean, being skinny feels great and whatever, but, like, not that great.
But it doesn't build your habits either to maintaining that lifestyle. Like, it just makes you kind of suppress that, lose weight. But then it's like, okay, now what? Now you stop
Yeah.
taking
Also,
it.
like, look at Ashley Graham, right? I mean, she looks great. She looked great in her dress at the gala. She looked good. She's attractive. I also don't really know quite what's plus size about her. What is she like, a size 8 or
she's-
something?
She's
on the
bigger
larger
than the
side.
average.
She's like a 10. Well, but you're looking at photos. I bet her size is more like a 10, 12 maybe.
The
which nowadays isn't even really.
Which is like sort of normal.
It also depends on which brand. Like, you'll know this, Libby. You can be a 2 in one store and a 6 in another store, and you're like,
Not to
How?
mention, like James
What?
Purse, they have 1, 2, 3, and 4. I don't know.
yeah, I don't know what
this?
that is.
What is this size?
And you can switch between brands. They like have for some
There's
reason
nothing
they fit different.
and it doesn't even
Nothing
matter with the
uniform.
shoes. Do you ever like try and buy a
Size
pair of
M.
European
I don't know.
pair of shoes?
Never works.
And it's like you can't really get a half size.
Never works. No, they don't do half
No.
sizes.
What
It's
is
very
the deal
annoying.
with that?
So true,
like,
Brett.
I know, man. So the other thing about this is it is not actually wiped out body positivity.
Yeah.
None of these women are suddenly like fat people suck.
No, they
None of
still
them.
love
No,
fat people.
all of them would still happily virtue signal about overweight models
Yep.
if they
Yep.
were actually
But-
supporting.
Anne Hathaway.
Yes,
Do you
But they
remember
don't want
that?
to be fat.
Devil Wears
They
Prada.
don't want to be fat. They know they don't want to be fat, but they also
want you to
want
be
other
fat.
people to be fat.
Yeah.
Yeah, they want everyone else to be fat, but
What
not
is that
them.
They're
female intrasexual
Yo,
competition?
They're kind of like clavicular pilled. Like when
A
he was
little
talking when he was
bit.
talking
We'll call
about
it
trans
clav
people.
pill.
Yeah, the clav pill.
Clav
When he was talking
pill.
about trans people and he's like, better for me, one less person who I'm competing with. Like I easily mog a trans person, so I'm fine with transgenderism. It's like
Yeah.
that's their strategy. It's like everybody else can be obese so that I dominate, so I have a monopoly on the sexual like intersocial marketplace.
So for the
Yeah.
average actor these days, and I do agree with what Olivia was saying earlier, which is that it's horrible for you long term, and that it doesn't help you build up the reward center of your brain that tells you exercise is good,
Or just get in the habit of
or
it.
limiting, like understanding that you shouldn't always eat until you're super overly full, and that learning to do portion control matters as well. Because you need to be able to do that when you're older as well. Not to mention the exercise builds up that part of your brain where you're like, I feel better after.
Yeah.
For me, that's skating or
Walking. You've
or-
been walking a lot.
and running.
And
Picking
running.
up, getting. It's horrible for your knees. is, but does feel, you know, I enjoy getting exercise because it makes me feel good about myself. Whether it affects how I look is kind of, it matters because I do want to, you know, like if we're going to have kids, I want to be able to pick my kids up.
Yeah.
When I'm, you know,
or run with them,
run
or
with them and
whatever,
stuff like that. And 30 years of skating means means I have to focus on that now. Otherwise, if I was to take a pill to do that, that's not going to help me long term.
Yeah.
So it's Hollywood as an industry. It's funny you mentioned Devil Wears Prada and Anne Hathaway because she just literally said that. Which is like, I wanted size inclusive models in Devil Wears Prada, and I said there's something ironic and hilarious about somebody talking about, you know, virtue signaling about the most exploitative one of the most exploitative industries in the world, which is fashion.
Yeah.
Also, she cost all those people their jobs. It kind of reminds me of Peter Dinklage when he was
I was told they didn't fire anyone.
Oh, well, that's good.
The people who were skinny still got paid.
Okay.
Good.
Do you remember Peter Dinklage with Snow White? And he was like, I'm a dwarf, but there shouldn't be any other dwarfs because
like what?
it's just discriminatory against us dwarves. And I saw an interview with an actor who is also a dwarf or whatever, and he was like, the hell, Peter Dinklage? What, you think my kid doesn't need to eat? Only your kid needs to eat?
Yeah.
What is up with this?
Like, how many casting opportunities in Hollywood are there?
Right. And if you look at The Wizard of Oz and the history of The Wizard of Oz, they brought so many little people together on that set that people got married, people had lifelong friendships. It was a great opportunity to like create this community.
Real.
There was a great episode. This is going to be such a weird aside. There's a show from like 2012 called The Glades, starring Matt Passmore. Probably not remembered by many of...
I remember this show.
Okay. So he's the world's biggest dick. The detective, he's one of the most, like, it's literally one of those characters where, like, if I'm not in a good mood, I can't actually watch him because he's such an awful person to the people he's interrogating. But there's an episode that's actually really interesting where he goes, because the show's set in Florida, and he goes and investigates a murder at a local freak show. It's actually called a freak show, you know, like people who...
Coney Island used to have a freak show.
So, and the point of the episode is there's a real estate developer who's pushing in on this area, who's trying to use, like, not progressivism.
My ex-uncle was a sword swallower in the Coney Island freak show.
There you go. So that basically there's people in the community who don't want to be moved out. They're like, this is what we do for work. This is how we make our money. But the local NIMBYs and the people who want to push politically correct narratives are saying, like, we can't do this. It's exploitative. They're like, what are you talking about? It's not exploitative. This is how I make a living.
Yeah, real.
Right? Like that. So there's a kind of a discussion to be had back and forth. It's kind of like the definition of far leftism today, which is to come into somebody else's world and say, you shouldn't do this. Yeah. This is politically incorrect. And they're like, what are you talking about? This is my life.
It's the feelings of inferiority. Once again, you know, people, they will never admit it, but they do have a negative opinion of the groups that they care to advocate for.
Yes, they do.
And real.
I do think that eventually the GLP-1 craze will hit a zenith or a peak. And Hollywood will find its way perhaps back to a more middle ground. I think right now they're kind of enamored with the return to this look. And maybe it's through regulation or something happens.
Craze.
I mean, I don't think that's going to happen because I think they've turned, like, now they're making pills of Ozempic, which is going to make it even easier for people who don't want to take the shot.
But then they say those don't work. Although you do have, like, Venus Williams pushing the...
They've gone hard, like full press.
What I don't understand is why is this stuff okay, but you can't just sell speed?
Steroids.
You know,
Yeah.
like they used to sell Dexatrim in the 80s, and like I remember because girls in middle school would be on it. It was like late 80s. Girls in middle school would be on it or whatever, and they'd take the Dexatrim, and it was like. It was speed.
Yeah.
But for some reason, we look down on speed, but we're pro this weird stuff.
None of the...
Like, speed maybe messed up your teeth, but it didn't make your hair fall out.
These hippie liberals.
Right?
All of the weight loss, none of the fun to get to...
This is my point. All of the weight loss and all of the baldness, too, and blindness.
Hippie liberals want you smoking weed, not doing cocaine, because cocaine makes you productive.
It makes you do things.
Yeah.
We talked about this last night with Colonel Kurtz. We were talking about some actor who he got, like... He likely got hooked on either meth or crank because he had to do a role where he had to be super skinny and he kind of took it too far. And I was like, oh yeah, that shit sinks your face in, your cheeks sink in. And I showed them a picture of me when I was at my absolute skinniest from when I was still using, and I don't look like the same person.
And they were like, whoa, you're mogging. I gotta hop on what
Bro,
you were doing.
like, what were you using then?
Bro.
Dude, it's time is a flat circle.
It's
That's how it
I do believe that Hollywood for the most part will end up with some type of equilibrium with this, but it is the hypocrisy of it all that and it is what you were saying earlier, which is like they never wanted to be body positive.
Yeah.
They wanted you to be body positive and to support you, but to be skinny and appealing to regular people.
Well, and this is what I wonder if there's a similar thing where, there's always the trope of, and back in the day, everything was so misogynistic, and they kept women at a certain weight to be stewardesses and whatnot. And it's like, well, hold on. Why? Like, do we really think that's not happening with fat models?
Yeah,
where it's
that's
like,
true.
It's like, you're not eating enough.
Yeah,
We're going to lose a
more.
plus-size model.
Also, I think it used to be easier to be skinny.
Yeah.
Because
Really?
there was a lot less sedentary lifestyle.
Yep.
True.
So you'd have more people running around after their kids, running around outside having to do things, right? There'd be a lot less like just sitting in your SUV and pulling around to the drive-through and then picking your kids up and then going straight home and never doing anything.
Yeah.
So I think that's part of it. I think also there's a difference in the way that a lot of foods are made.
That was what I was gonna ask. Is
now
what
you
part
have
of
like
it?
fat stuff in foods, and if you're not just eating fresh food, you're going to end up with a lot of trash that's going to like do to what it does to potato chips to your body.
You're a gym guy, so you understand the idea that like you can't outrun a bad diet.
Yeah.
Like you just can't.
Well, I mean, it is true. It's like calories in, calories out. Like that's real. Like if you're in a caloric deficit, I am a firm believer that you're going to lose weight because I mean, this is the math of the body. Yeah. You can't just like have energy just like out of nowhere. Like it doesn't appear suddenly. You have to ingest it. But the diet thing is so important because people don't realize where they're getting these calories from. It's like if you're eating a bad diet, if you're eating a lot of these processed foods, what you're consuming is a lot more fat and oil than you would ever be including if you were cooking. And it really is made up in the differences. When I tell people like if they want to lose weight but don't want to track their calories, the best advice, quit snacking. You would be so surprised how many hundreds of calories, even 1,000 calories you're eating in a day just by snacking when you're not eating meals. So you cut that out. And that's why, honestly, intermittent fasting, I don't think it works. But the reason it works is because it stops people from snacking in the hours when they're not eating.
So that's the hardest part for me. So what I found is like, in general, I know they talk about how like fast food, it's like designed to make you hungry again, like instantly. Like when we eat at home, like when Olivia cooks and we eat at home, I snack almost not at all. Like very, very, very little at the end of the night. Also, choosing at night to get exercise is a good way to. It's like literally just you're not hungry, you're bored. So just getting out of that environment and going and doing something.
Real.
But like when we eat at home, I snack way less when we cook at home.
It's a game changer.
So all right, let's go to super chats here, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you are all having a fantastic day. And once we are through with the super chats, we will hang out. We are here till 5. Shane H. Wilder says, Happy Taco Tuesday, Dasovics, Libby, and Kai. Please don't put mayo on your tacos. I know in Cinco de Mayo, but that's just gross.
So true.
Yeah.
Who
five
does
day
that? I don't think they do that.
Wait, do you know someone that does that, Shane? Like, I'm worried about you. Buddy.
No, wasn't the place. So we were out.
It was Tim Waltz was saying that he had like his tuna tacos, but it was a lie because he actually had won some sort of chili cook-off about having like spicy food.
But we were at a market on Saturday. And I think that taco place had some type of spicy mayo on top, didn't it?
Oh, wait. No, it may have.
You might still have the photo
I might still have the photo of the menu.
And I think I saw that. I'm like, I'm not going to get that.
That's kind of like I'm not crazy about mayo on sushi rolls either.
I like it. I want
It
like the
depends
spicy
on
mayo's
what it
good.
is, but like
I don't put mayo. I don't use mayo.
I
don't think
I
you
am
own
a
it.
mayo fan.
You're mayo-holic?
I am a white man mayo fan, mayo monkey. Yes, I
mayo-holic.
am.
I will
That
say
is
that
him.
I also like mayonnaise, but my tacos do not have mayonnaise.
Yeah, not on
I make
tacos.
really good spicy birria, no mayo.
I
on
love
it.
birria.
So good.
I love birria.
For me, it's like I think any sandwich or hamburger has to have mayonnaise.
I
I'm staunch.
like mayo on my burger.
Yep.
I just put.
And I don't like ketchup or what's the other one? Mustard.
Mustard.
I don't like them on
Really?
burgers.
So
I like the my burger is mayo, mustard, avocado.
no ketchup,
Avocado burger.
No mustard. I'm sorry. Mayo, ketchup.
no mustard.
No
That's fry
mustard.
sauce.
Yeah.
That's fry sauce in Utah.
And then it's what sauce?
Fry sauce.
Weird.
We put it together.
Oh, well, I
Amazing.
do that too. And
Yeah.
then avocados, fried onions, bacon, and cheese on my
That's
burger.
good.
Ketchup is like it depends on the brand. Like
Well, because
Yeah.
if you're cooking at home, you can make your burger with the perfect everything on it.
It was spicy mayo.
like
We went with the barbecue instead.
ketchup can
Yeah.
sometimes be too sweet,
Yeah.
and that ends up ruining it.
Yep.
Sheetz had really sweet ketchup
Yeah.
in like one of their burgers, and I've never gotten a burger from there again because it was so gross.
Well, and that's the thing is, it's like the tomato on a burger is good, but then you get ketchup, and when it's like when you go to these millennial burger joints, and it's like we're gonna make
We do
this-
things a
Thistle and
little
thorn.
different
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
Thistle and thorn.
Call it
Yeah.
thistle and thorn. That's like it doesn't actually exist, but that's totally what it would be called.
That's totally what it would be
thistle
called.
and thorn.
One of my
And-
favorite
Yep.
Instagram skit channels does this thing where it's like it's just a guy committing crimes, but it's a millennial, and he's like when you get beaten up by a millennial, and he's going. And says we do things
Stomp
a little
clap.
differently here as stomp
Stomp
clap.
Stomp
clap.
clamp.
Stomp
Like curb
clap.
stomp,
Yeah,
curb
it's
stomp
kinda
clamp.
Yeah,
Yeah.
basically,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
Lumineers is playing in the
Yeah,
background
just
as he
like-
attacks you.
Yeah.
Real.
High Voltage 75 sent 5 PCC channel memberships
Let's
to
go.
people.
Let's
Thank
go.
you for that. I do have some new bonus content coming next week and the week after. Next week, I have to triple check to make sure we're still doing it, but I believe we are. I will be doing a bonus episode with the ladies from Force of Light. They've been on the
Yeah.
channel. They're
Yeah.
fantastic. Don't know what we're going to talk about yet, but we're like a week
Figure it
out.
out,
There's
figure it
something,
out.
something
And
will
I
come
think
up.
Thursday we're gonna have another bad movie review.
Ooh.
Yeah. That would
What are
be
you
like-
going to review?
Well, last week
What
we
was the
did
one
we
with-
did Left Behind with Nicolas Cage.
Okay.
So bad.
It was One for the Money.
One for the Money with Katherine
Heigl.
That's what we're gonna watch.
Yeah, I'm
Tomorrow
excited.
night.
I'm excited because it was low critics and audience score.
Oh, that's the best.
Yeah, can't wait.
Shane H. Wilder says, "Word to the wise: please do not set yourself on fire and drag a police car down the road by your tallywhacker.
Yep.
Maybe just go to church or read a book."
Yeah, I saw that article today. A guy
Is that
was
the one
trying to
quote
raise
tweeted?
awareness for prostate cancer by dragging a police car with, yeah.
What?
Huh.
Can
And
you,
I guess he was on fire too. I saw, like,
can you
I read
explain
it.
that better?
No, I really can't. There's really no better way to explain
Okay.
it to you.
Mike Ma has several quotes. Accelerationist author Mike Ma has several quotes in his book that seem ridiculous, but every day we're closer to a true, actual reality where there are gay cops on fire. That's pretty close.
Yeah, it's let me see if I can
So, like,
find
Reno
the article
911?
title here.
Well, we did see that salad guy at the White House Correspondents' Dinner where he was just sitting. He was like a New York agent, I think, for CAA, and shots are ringing out, and he's sitting there eating his salad. And I was like, this is the dog sitting there with his coffee while the room burns, saying
Yeah.
everything is fine.
Real.
Yeah.
Either way, you said
yeah.
he was a CIA. He's like CIA.
CAA.
Oh, I think he said CIA. I was like, they have a
CAA.
management
Big
agency.
Big difference.
Probably.
CAA. Yeah.
Yes, to raise awareness for prostate cancer, man pulls police car down the street with his
Tallywhacker.
tallywagger.
Whatever happened to the guy on top of the bridge?
But he also was on fire at one point. Did the guy come down from the bridge?
Did
Libby,
you
have
see that
followed
story,
that
Libby?
story?
Is this flaming cops? What?
No, sorry. We just like went to another crazy person.
Okay.
The guy that was on top of the bridge in D.C. Did he come down yet? Do you know?
Oh, I don't know, but you had a cop out there trying to talk him
Yeah.
down.
The Frederick Douglass Bridge. I remember.
It's actually so funny. I was in my hotel and I was watching this episode of South Park, and they were like doing a vegan protest to the PETA point from before. But it was funny because they go on the news and they're like, "Oh, the news is here. I'm just so glad that people know that this is important." And the news anchor's like, "Well, we're getting news that nobody thinks this is important. We're talking about this
It's
guy
literally
who's
what's
like,
happening.
risking his life on top of this bridge."
Not
We're
the
like,
first time he's done it either, which is insane.
Yeah.
He
No,
did
that's
it.
exactly like that's the type of person who that's
He's
his
still
whole
up
life.
there 'cause
Attention
I'm not
seeking.
seeing news. So he wants an end to the war in Iran, and he wants a ban entirely on AI. That's what his point. His
What if Trump was
demands
like part
are.
of the deal and is like, "Look, I'll give you the end of the war on
Yeah.
Iran because I'm already planning. He's
Yeah.
already planning to do
AI
it."
can't
He's
really
like,
do that.
AI
shit. It's
can't
not my
really-
thing.
Government
Yeah.
contracts
I'll
have
talk to
already been
Elon,
paid
but,
for.
you know,
too late.
yeah.
The AI is like self-sustaining. Like it's taken over. I
Yep.
I
He's
literally
still
don't
up
control
there.
the reins anymore.
What if he was like, "Can I let you in on a secret? Like, it's already sentient. Like, we've already
Yeah.
hit singularity.
Yeah.
Dude, it's gonna
It's
jump off the
actually
bridge.
like
Don't
the-
do that. Bro's gonna jump.
The
Yeah.
AI is already running the government, bro. I'm sorry."
Mm-hmm.
And the guy's like, "Fuck."
Yeah.
He's like, "Bro, you might as well jump. It's not getting any better."
Brian Bledsoe says, "Okay, maybe Diddy had a point regarding Kid Cudi." What did Diddy say about Kid Cudi? I don't remember.
I thought he was just on his list of people who betrayed me.
Diddy
Oh,
vindication arc?
there you
What's
go.
going on?
Maybe.
Shane H. Wilder says, "When I saw Katy Perry's outfit with the Cobra Commander mask, I
you
thought
said
she was
Diddy, not Kanye. Sorry, that was my brain.
Yes, Diddy.
No, he was
Great minds
with
think
he was
alike?
with
What's
Cassie. He was like
Oh,
with
yeah,
Cassie.
yeah, that's what it was.
And
Okay.
then
Yeah.
and then Diddy bombed his car.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was that ever proven, or was that just kind of like assumed?
I thought Cuddy said it in court, but I might be
Okay.
wrong about that. I might just be like conflating all the outspoken rappers into one.
I just love that.
We have a $40 super chat, so the
Huge.
double 20. Said, hi, Brett and crew. I wanted to follow up and see if you received a link to my YouTube music channel that I sent through IG. I forgot to do it in last Friday's super chat. From E.G. Smitty.
What's your? You'd have to. Are you following the chat? Let me know what your Instagram handle
It
is.
would have to be to Brett specifically, not the PCC.
Yes, if it went to the PCC Instagram, I don't have access to that. That's not me. But if you sent it to me privately on Instagram, I can check it out. I might have to double check, because sometimes they go to that crazy
Weird.
alternate universe message request folder. But send that over there, man, and I will check it out.
Yeah.
Thank you for that.
Mm-hmm. Back up wherever we were.
Okay.
Well, let's go. Goat's in the live chat.
Yep. All right, here we go. From Chief Corey Anderson says, does the guy model tablecloths or wheelchairs? I think the guy modeled.
¿Por qué no los
Both.
dos? Why not? Let him
You
do
should
both.
ask him. He's the first trans.
He's the first Persian Olympics winner ever.
Adam Pizza says, Mormon in Chief Kai Schwemmer on PCC. What a guy.
Hey.
Hey, you
Thank
know
you.
what, Adam? Want to know where I know Adam from? The You Are Here chat.
Really?
That is how I know who Adam is, and we've stayed connected all these years.
Holy moly.
So yes, we so we kind of come from that same. I was telling Kyle, that's how I found who he was originally.
That is so
it's
funny that you didn't
it
know that
ties
he'd
back.
been on PCC before. You knew him
I
from
like
somewhere
I
else.
like remember you said, and I was like, oh man, that sounds familiar now, but it wasn't at the top of my head.
Yeah.
2022 was a long time.
Dude,
Very long time
seriously.
ago.
A lifetime ago on internet.
Yeah,
years.
we usually say MOG, Mormon Occupied Government, but now it's
Oh,
it's
no.
MOP.
Means something
Yeah.
different.
Now it's Mormon Occupied Podcast.
There you go.
Shane H. Wilder says, I went to confession with an African priest on a Friday evening. I was told to read and think on the entire book of Matthew before Sunday Mass.
Hey, based.
He had high hopes for you.
He did. He believed
high
in you, Shane.
expectations.
I've been doing a Matthew reread.
Matthew's based.
It's good. Yeah.
Shane H. Wilder also says, we have guests, and you can even put out the good pit out the good cringe. I'm assuming you mean
Put out the good cringe.
You just want to torture us. I see how it is. I thought
That's
we were
exactly
friends,
it.
Olivia.
I behave myself when there's other people here.
Yeah.
When it's just the Timcast people,
No, brutal.
yeah.
It's like, if they do anything wrong during the week, you
Yeah,
craft
it's
the
like
cringe.
I mean, and then my algorithm's screwed from the cringe, so I just keep getting worse and worse cringe. So it's like, keep them coming,
This
but
feedback loop.
well, it is. It really is. So yeah, I behaved myself today. I thought about it, but then I saw that video and was like, that'll do. It's on topic. It's fine.
Yeah.
Corey Anderson says, Jesus was a Roman citizen. He was not an immigrant.
Real.
Correct.
Red pill. Real.
I mean, is this like whenever some leftist goes, Jesus was a socialist?
Yeah, and it's
Yeah.
also the other one that gets me is like, Jesus was a Jew, and I'm like,
What?
dude, the way you're saying that, like, you're saying something that you're not saying. The thing that you're not saying is not true. But the thing, like, obviously,
Their
yeah.
point is to try to make it like
Yeah.
like they're trying to get you to be anti-Semitic by saying Jesus was a Jew. Like their intention is not good.
Exactly, but it's
Yeah.
just like, dude, that's literally what distinguishes Judaism from Christianity
Yep.
is the fact that, like, what do you think, Jesus Christ didn't believe he was the Messiah?
Yeah.
Is
Like-
the kind of the point, like, if you're on X enough, like, you just as somebody who's not religious, you just see
Yeah.
people arguing about it, and you're like, okay, you're just trying to throw something in his face that might or might, because what's the argument that they always make? They say the left throws religion in a right wing person's face,
And they don't
even though they
in
don't
it.
believe it.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No, that's the thing. It's like, don't quote Jesus at me. You do not even believe he was a real person.
Yep.
Okay. Corey Anderson says, or should I say a subject of Rome?
Yeah. Yeah. Say. I mean, yeah. We know what
Shane
you
H.
meant.
Wilder says, Corey is right. Everyone says, but Jesus fled to Egypt. Yes, but Egypt was under Roman rule after the defeat of Cleopatra and Mark Antony in 30 BC.
So true.
All right. Manic Mustache says, late as usual, but apropos to accepting yourself at any size, saw The Sheep Detective with Goddaughter. Give the movie a C+, but our snake buddy our snake buddy always gets an A. Stay toxic, my friends. I
Yeah,
did
stay
think
toxic.
Olivia would love The Sheep Detective, because it's
about
a sheep
an
and
animal. I love animals.
She loves
Animals are
animals.
my favorite thing.
Hey, question. What did you guys think of the Ryan Gosling movie, Hail Mary?
I did not see it.
We haven't seen it yet.
Okay, I haven't either. But I
Tim
heard
said
it
it
was
was bad.
Also
I
have
think
not
no,
seen
no.
it.
Who said it was bad? Oh no, he said that was Good Luck, Have Fun, Don't Die. He said
Oh,
that
yeah,
was
A lot of
bad,
people
yeah.
said that Project Hail Mary was good and
Yeah.
lacked political messaging,
Mary liked it.
etc.
Well, it's his top-rated movie on Rotten Tomatoes, which is crazy that Ryan Gosling's top-rated movie is that.
and
He's-
just came out.
Yeah.
That's a lot. Yeah.
He's got a very expansive career.
Yes.
Goes a very long time. He's finally distinguished himself. There's certain types of actors, I talk about this on the show, they're the same person even if they don't look alike.
Yeah.
Him and so Ryan Gosling and Jake Gyllenhaal are the same person to me. They are of the same archetype.
And now they're in the same movie.
And it took about 20 years for me to be able to distinguish between the two.
Yeah.
Whereas
No,
I would
that's
never
real.
mistake Maggie Gyllenhaal for anybody.
True. Very true.
I'll never forget over when they did the honest trailer for Batman for The Dark Knight and they called her Cabbage Patch Kid and I couldn't stop laughing because she does have
Yeah,
Patch
that's so funny.
Corey Anderson, I'm sorry, Shane H. Wilder says Ozempic's new commercials recreate the I'm a Mac, I'm a PC commercial. They even got Justin Long and John Hodgman. Justin reads the side effects. We did see that. We watched when we watched Left Behind.
Yeah,
he
when
just
there was
reads.
ads.
It's just an obscenely long reading of the side effects.
Oh, it's so bad.
Yep. That's like the safest thing now. If you watch any like free fast TV free ad supported streaming services, all the ads are AI now.
Yep.
They're
And
all
Ozempic.
creepy, uncanny valley,
Yeah.
AI
Yeah, they
people. It's weird.
I don't buy those products. If somebody makes an AI ad, it's like I'm not buying that.
Immediately not.
I'm
Immediately.
not even inherently against it. I just find the commercials creepy. If they find a way to make them not creepy, I guess I don't really care. I just think that they look really, really weird.
Yeah.
And it's always for like the low rent products. It's not like Downy bedding or something like that.
Yeah.
It's some product you've never heard of. Corey Anderson said, and the one that I always see, it's for some oldies television station where it's fake old people being like, they took this show off the channel I used to watch it on, and now it's on this one. And it says like AI representation of a real person.
Yeah,
at the very bottom.
yeah, it does.
Dude, I can't.
Or instead of an
with
actor's
this.
portrayal, it's now just AI.
Corey Anderson says mayo is great with fries.
That's so
I've heard
European.
that. I've
That's
heard
European
that.
coded. In Europe,
Yeah.
if you buy, or at least in Germany, if you buy fries, you're getting them with mayo.
Okay.
That's real.
Corey Anderson says Thistle and Thorn exists. It's in Panama City, Florida. Yes, it is a real place.
Oh, it is?
Yep.
I thought it was fake. I thought we made it up.
Nope, it's a real place.
We might have to go.
Yeah. This is like
I want to
a
walk in and be like, do you
cathartic
guys do
moment.
things a little different here?
Yeah, you walk in stomping,
That's
clapping.
the only time music in public is okay, and you play the Lumineers as you're walking in, and you're like,
Oh, hey.
You're wearing the beanie that kind of like drapes off the
It
back of your head.
slouches,
Yeah, the
yeah.
slouch beanie, the flannel.
Shane H. Wilder says, Libby said she saw a salad guy, and I thought she ran into the tossed salad man. Chris
No.
Rock fans will remember. Yes,
Sorry,
worry,
I
Shane.
think about Theron Manning now.
a syrup.
Unfortunately.
I prefer syrup. You should go listen to. Basically, his point is like, we don't need prayer in the schools. We need the tossed salad man in schools.
And then
that'll
Theron-
straighten the kids out. Hey, Jimmy, you got a D. You know what you got to do? No.
Then
Yes.
Theron Manning put a whole new meaning to it, and now we're all screwed.
Yeah, that's
Thank you,
fine
Theron.
cooked.
Thank you, Theron.
Prefer syrup. Shane H. Wilder says, I think you missed my comment about Katy Perry in Cobra Commander mask setting
No.
herself on fire at the Met Gala.
No, we
I
didn't.
think I did.
No, we got it.
Hold on.
Though. Corey Anderson says, you are here long time ago. Poor Sydney Watson.
Yeah.
How long ago are we talking?
That ended in what, 2022, 2023, early
2022.
Yeah, it was like ended 2022. They were like, we're going on Christmas break, and they just never came back. I
Yep.
think is what it was. Yeah, and that was a bummer because, like I said, like I knew people from the chat, and we were kind of like this old little community there.
Yeah.
And Adam and I have kept in contact, but that was kind of my first like show I really got into in
Yeah.
politics for some reason. I just really liked it, and I was a fan of Sydney, and so I started watching that, and I was there every night. Oh, Jack Murphy, don't even bring up that saga.
Wait, yeah, you're
Do you remember
right.
Jack
Yes.
Murphy? Yes, that was
Yes.
insane.
Holy moly.
Oh my gosh, we don't. Whoo. Woo,
That was a long time.
That was
It's a
crazy.
throwback, yeah.
That was crazy.
Poor
Got one for
Sydney.
you, Kai.
Oh, okay.
From Broody Gambit over on Rumble says, Kai, Batfleck is the GOAT. The Batman was good but had flaws, like using Riddler instead of just making it Hush. Colin Farrell as Penguin was the best part. I am still looking forward to the sequel.
Batfleck was the GOAT?
That's his
That's
contention.
crazy. I don't think he was a bad Batman, but like over Christian Bale is insane, and Robert Pattinson, I think he's just awesome. I thought he played the broody. Like I first, when I heard about that cast, I was like, Robert Pattinson is Batman? Really? This pretty boy? And then I saw it and I'm like, man, he actually kind of kills this.
I watch a lot of retrospectives. I actually do believe, first of all, I think Batman Begins is better than The Dark Knight. That's my personal opinion. I think as a comic book movie, it's more accurate to do that story with Ra's al Ghul.
Yeah.
The Dark Knight is ostensibly just a crime drama, more so than a superhero movie. But I think that its success is in spite of Christian Bale in that movie.
Yeah.
I don't think that he is I think he is the weakest part of The Dark Knight. I think that the strongest
Tom
part,
Hardy carries.
No, that's Dark Knight Rises.
Oh,
That's
you're right. I'm thinking of the other one. Yeah, yeah.
I think that for the most part, Christian Bale kind of falls by the wayside in the Dark Knight, and a lot of people felt like the voice went over the top in the Dark Knight, made it harder for people to connect with there. And I didn't really feel like, maybe it's also, it falls victim to the fact that they recast Rachel.
Yeah.
So it's like I didn't really buy the connection between him and Rachel the way that I was supposed to in a lot of things. And I love that movie, but I still think it's mainly due to Nolan's directing and the performance from the Joker.
Yeah. Heath
But that's
Ledger.
just Heath
Yeah.
Ledger.
No,
and I'm not somebody who lauds that performance as like the great. Like in a lot of ways, as great as that performance was, there is a dark benefit that it gained from him dying before the movie coming out.
Yeah.
Because if you were my age at that time, you were led to believe that he died because of like some trauma from the movie,
From being
like
Joker.
But that wasn't true. But it did. I don't think it would have reached $1 billion if he had not
Oh, no
died
way.
before the movie came out.
I just like Pat Bad is just like so cool. Like there was something, the grittiness of it, like this very realistic, like, you know, when he's using the, what is it, like the bat suit and like hits the top of the you know, motorway or the.
Perhaps I'll rewatch it.
You
but
gotta do it, man.
I admit, like, I was biased against it from the start because I'm like 2 hours and 50
Yeah,
minutes.
the length is the issue.
Matt Reeves, you pretentious man. All right. Side June says Greek yogurt or Icelandic. I have no idea what that word is. SKYR.
SKY.
I'm uncultured,
Oh.
so I always assume you guys know.
I have had that before. I'm more of a Greek yogurt guy.
Okay.
It's like a drink, isn't it?
He says Greek. What's it pronounced? Is it skyer? Skyr?
Skyr.
No, it
Skyr?
is like a yogurt.
Is it skyr?
Yeah.
So he says Greek yogurt or Icelandic skyr mixed with mustard and ketchup and maybe some pickle juice makes a lovely, healthy Big Mac sauce.
Okay.
Okay.
I would not have thought of that in a million years.
Yeah, okay. Guys, we're like right at a second crisis party, so like don't make me do the NPR outro. Corey Anderson says, the Jack Murphy episode, LOL. Have you
There it
seen the
is.
Quartering podcast with Sydney where he brings up the wiki feet and zooms in on her feet?
What?
Sydney's been through some stuff, okay? There's a reason that Sydney has just kind of been
Oh, man.
doing her own thing.
I feel
now.
bad. I was really mean about the Australians. I'm like, Sydney, you complain so much about what's happening in Australia, but you left. You
Yeah.
fled. I was really mean.
That's okay. I
He
don't think she
zoomed
took
in
it
on her
personally.
feet like live on air.
Yeah, that is crazy.
Yep.
That is nuts.
Yep. I'll make no further comments about Jeremy, though.
Broody Gambit says, same initial thought about Pattinson. Nolan movies are good, but I don't like the realistic style. He's human, but should still be mythological. I mean, but that's the thing. The first movie takes great pains to explain why, in the eyes of criminals, he's seen that way, even if he's not.
Yeah.
Meaning that his speed and his ability to work within darkness. You know, there's the scene at the docks where he picks off the thugs one by one and then pulls. It's not Maroney. Who was it in Batman Begins? I forget which one it is. But the point is he does a great job of kind of showing why he's seen that way by criminals.
Yeah.
But I still say, just go watch Mask of the Phantasm. Go watch animated Batman. It's so much better.
What was it? The Brave and the Bold. That's what I grew up watching. That was good. I really I would rent the DVDs from the library.
Yeah.
It was so awesome.
I mean, I love a lot of those animated movies. Like the old pre-2016 DC animated movies they're fantastic.
Yep.
So.
I will say though, it's like that line from, again, not to glaze Pattinson too much, but the line from that movie where he's like, I can't be everywhere at once, but they don't know where I am. I love that line. It's so good.
All right, we've got one more here from Broody Gambit. It says, I dive into financial ruin, super chatting everything. The warehouse fight scene was stylized so much like an Arkham video game, and there was such a visceral physicality to that role. So that, I don't know if it made this particular move popular, but there is a style in modern stunt work where basically the good guy beats the criminal up and he goes to the side of his neck and his shoulder on the ground, and it looks super dangerous, like he breaks their neck. But I've watched these videos from stunt performers who have shown like how they learned this technique to safely perform it, and it's very interesting. But I do love that scene. I do think that scene is fantastic. All right, we've got one more here. We've got two more here. And then we got to go here from Penamite. Says, optimistic and personal view on young men. You ID as religious before you go back to church. The whole throng won't attend, but some will in future.
Yeah. I think that's true.
Yeah, if that's Penmaker from, I think it's Penmaker from the Discord, if that is.
Yeah, it's like the seed is planted, and I think people, even as they begin attending, I think the true conviction develops over time. Like I had a total shift in my understanding to the point where now, when people cite to me the verse from Matthew 10, where it's, I came not to bring peace but a sword, it's like, I almost cringe at that now, because now I'm like, the gospel's actually a lot more about the, two great commandments. And not to say that people who are animated by the other stuff are wrong, but I think it's just it's a good way of introducing somebody to the gravity of the gospel, and then eventually allowing them to also realize that God's mercy is, I think he's far more merciful than he is excessively just.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, couple more here. Shane H. Wilder says, mustard, lettuce, pickles and onions, grilled jalapenos and charcoal grilled patties, sharp cheddar, and 8 strips of bacon, all on a toasted sourdough bun.
That was really specific.
8
That also
strips
sounds
of
good.
bacon?
Are you a
Also
sourdough,
sounds good.
Libby, are you a sourdough person?
Yeah, I kind of like pretzel buns.
Me too.
That's
Ooh,
a good
yeah.
I feel
Yeah.
like sourdough has been co-opted by the trad wife influencer aesthetic. So.
I don't know how to make it, and I'm not going to try. I'm perfectly happy using yeast when I make bread.
Yeah.
Like, I don't see a problem with this. But
Yeah.
Yep.
Shane H. Wilder says, and tomatoes. I forgot tomatoes.
Can't forget the tomatoes.
And one more from Corey Anderson. He said he had the pics bookmarked. Kino Casino had a great video about it.
Okay, that's great. It's weird. It's really weird, man. I can't do it.
All right, guys, before we go, would you all please hit the like button on this episode and subscribe to the channel if you're new here and you have not subscribed here yet already. Please and thank you. Libby, where can they find you?
you can find me so many places. You
So
can
many
find
places.
So many places. You can find me on Twitter at Libby Emmons. You can find me on my podcast, The Pod Millennial. You should go check it out. It's on Apple and everywhere else. You can find all your links at thepodmillennial.com. You can find me at The Post Millennial, where I'm the editor, also at humanevents.com. And you can check out my Instagram if you want, which is libby.emmons.
What was the most recent Pod Millennial episode on?
It was today, and it was with Brittany Hugo Boom,
Evie
magazine.
Okay.
Yeah,
What did you guys talk
she's
about?
terrific. Everything.
Everything?
She's terrific. She's so smart and interesting. And yeah, we talked about femininity and media, what's important to women, what women really want. Everyone wants to know that, right?
So true.
What
$1 million
women really
question.
want. Yeah.
All right, Kai, where can they find you?
Yeah, you can find me on X at Kai Schwemmer, on YouTube under the same name, and then on Instagram, KAIKLIPS, Kai Clips. And if you're a member of the state delegation in the State Central Committee in Utah, you can vote for me for Utah State Party Treasurer on May 16th.
Perfect.
Yeah, well, you guys can find me at Olivia Dasovic on Instagram and on X. What you guys should do is go to timcast.com, hit join us, become a member of our exclusive members-only Discord server. We can have great conversations. Kai was there yesterday.
Yeah.
We had a great time yesterday.
We had
He
such
was
a fun
there.
time.
We had so much fun. So you never know what's going to happen there. I've made some, lifelong friends in there, so I will always plug it. and it's my job. So what can you do? I'll see you guys there.
All right. Guys, if you want to follow me, I am on Instagram and on X at Brett Dasovic on both of those platforms. PCC is live 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is, of course, noon Pacific. There it is! What is that?
Oh!
All right.
Restart it.
Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, Pandora, and Spotify. If you would like to listen rather than just watch the show, you can also rate and review on Apple Podcast and on Spotify, which is a great way to help us out as well. If you want to follow us on social media, Twix at @popculture_show, Facebook at Pop Culture Crisis, Instagram at Pop Culture Crisis Pod. Guys, we will be back with another episode tomorrow. We will see y'all then. Bye, everybody.
Bye.